just like all the rest. You ask for truth like it's a test. I taste so good though when I lie. You love me best when I comply. I'm your lust, I'm your sin. You wear me like a second skin. You were so cute, you were so brave, but I became what you would crave. Chain my throat, chain my hands, burn me with your sacred brand. Chain my legs, chain my heart, make my soul your work of art. Just ain't good enough. Hate me, hurt me. Change your hands, burn you with my devil's brand. Change your legs, change your heart, and make your soul my work of art. Hate me, drink me, hate me, hurt me. I showed you every part of me. I never hid what I could be. You thought your lust could set you free, but now you just belong to me. You saw the lie, you saw the cost. You loved it when I called you boss. You chose the thrill, you chose the loss. Now you're nailed up to your cross. I never took, you only gave. All I was is what you crave. Say it's normal, say it's fine. Say you're lucky now, say you're mine. Drink me. Take your turn, hit me hard, watch you burn. Hit me, drink me, did all. Hit me, hurt me, enjoy your Drink me, hate me, hurt me. Dream me, drink me. Say it's normal, say it's fine. Say you're lucky now, say you're
Five members of the prominent Rhineswan family were found dead. Investigators believe the killer may be the same individual the media has dubbed the Red Crier.
And good morning, best chat. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to delicious morning nonsense chat. We have some pretty good stuff for today, served up on a silverest of platters. Let's go, chat. Let's get down to business. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Hello to Carlos Batista. Good morning, LD and best chat. Well, good morning to you, Carlos Batista. Welcome, welcome. Hello to you, Carmen, the Tolkien nerd. Sorry, guys. I meant to say that I actually finished my short story. Oh, very good. Which isn't that short. Isn't that how it goes? So after some careful editing, I don't know what to do with it. It's tough. Short stories are tough. Let me tell you. One thing I will always say that changed my life was the was I keep forgetting the guy's name. Let's see, Lester Dent Formula. Lester Dent Formula. The Lester Dent Formula. The guy who wrote, he wrote what was it? Doc Savage. He wrote. He has a very cool, like very distinct short story formula called the Lester Dent Formula. Changed my life when I discovered. Absolutely changed my life. And I discovered like in high school or something like that, or early college. It was something like that. Absolutely changed my life because it kind of give you a rigid structure to the chaos. And essentially amounts to 4 parts. 4 parts. Each part having giving you 1,500 words, I think. So like 4 parts by 1,500 words, and it gives you like a trajectory where to go. So it's like, okay, this, the first 500 is your intro, and then the second 500 is you're leading up to a physical confrontation. So basically a fight of some sort, and then a twist. The end, it has to end a twist. So it's basically a beginning, middle, physical confrontation and twist. That's kind of every single one of those parts. And then the 4th part is you bring it all together. And I've been using that secret formula, technically speaking, for all of my comics and everything. And that's kind of how I usually tend to write things. It's like using my version of Lester Dent Formula. And the reason why I say my version of Lester Dent Formula, because I added a few things. All right, I added 2 more parts of Lester Dent Formula. At the beginning, it's a 500 word, basically a teaser or intro, and then you get to part 1. All right, and then after 4, I added a denouement. So technically speaking, my version of Lester Dent Formula has about 6 parts. So you get your prologue, whatever you want, like pre-credit sort of scene to set everything up, and then which I give myself like about 500 words. It's supposed to be like a teaser. This gets you into the mood, and then you do your Lesser Dent 1, 2, 3, 4, and then boom, you get your denouement. So that's my version of it. Now I added that because I needed more room. Like I didn't have enough to make some of these stories I was writing with it to test it. I need more breathable room. So I added 2 more parts to it. Dead Man's Alibi was written with the Lester Dent Formula in mind. And current Lady Midnight is going to be written with the Lester Dent Formula in mind, although because of the rewrites and everything, I'm not sure how it's going to connect with that, because the original copy, the original version was written with the Lester Dent Formula in mind. But it's been through so many rewrites that I'm not sure if it has maintained the Lester Dent Formula thing, but the structure of it. But the Lester Dent Formula, pretty good for a short story, but it is tough to write a short story. It really is. It's like going in there saying, I'm gonna write a short story, even using Lester Dent Formula. It's like it is tough to keep that formula. So I had to add in 2 more parts to make it to give it more room to breathe, because that is a strict like 1,500 words per part. That's strict. It's pretty strict. But yeah, short stories is its own challenge. Some fledgling writers think that writing a short story is a lot easier than writing a novel because it's shorter. No, it's not. Because a novel might be longer, but it also has room. Like it also allows your room to breathe and to like set things up and to let things kind of like spread out a little bit. Let things spread out a little bit. You have time for a little quirky joke or little quips or whatever. Have more room for character building, minor character building. But Lester Dent Formula short stories, you got everything has to push the story along. You don't have time to mess around. It tells about says, "What folks? Is how much media predicted modern media today. At this point, I believe a lot of these hacks are like, well, let's see what happens. Out of curiosity, and we suffer for it. I think it's because, the predictions they probably knew what was going on. They probably could see like some of these people rising to the top who are just defiant of the traditions just because they're traditional. That's probably a big part of it. Let's see, but it's the same thing we have now. Like people didn't really change. It's kind of changed the look of how people are, and it's kind of something that we see in Hear a Thousand Faces. Like it's not about it being fundamentally different. It's about the different face that it wears. So the weird soy boys and art bros we have today, right? We had them like yesterday too. They want to break tradition just because it's traditional, and they don't want to do it in a smart way. They didn't learn the rules like an artist, and then so therefore they can break them like an artist. They saw the rules and decided, you know what, that's traditional, that's old, everyone loves this. Let me break it, like Ryan Johnson did. And so that's kind of what happened with Last Jedi. It's kind of what happened with Korra, but they kind of rebelled against their dads, rebelled against tradition just because they wanted to rebel against it. There's no real artistic vision behind it, not really. That's why it's all deconstruction and not reconstruction, right? So it's kind of like that. It's kind of what they're more invested in destroying things than they are in building things, and that's why it's such a kind of predictable thing, because that's not going to get you anywhere. It's fun to see things get destroyed, I guess. This is what Ryan Johnson's whole speech about being a disruptor in Glass Onion was about. But there's the thing that's behind it. It's there for a moment, a momentary shock, and that's kind of what a lot of people had. That's an experience a lot of people had with the new Star Wars movies, with Last Jedi specifically, was that it was so good. Like, people came from the theater saying it was so good, like a flash in the pan. Like the first time they saw it, oh man, it was it was crazy. It was weird. You know, it was different and everything. And people did make that argument. Well, it was different. It was different, so that was good. However, you think about it, you go back to see it, and then it's gone. Like, wait a minute, it's not that great actually. Look at this. Like, what the hell is this whole scene in Canto Bight? Like, you don't even need all that. You could just cut that out of the movie. Is this Leia's lesbian lover, Admiral Holdo? Why does she have purple hair? Like, you keep seeing like all this stuff that's in The Last Jedi, and you know that every scene is in there for a greater is for another, not a greater purpose, but another purpose besides the narrative. It's for Ryan Johnson's little experiment here. What he wanted to have in there, as opposed to what leads to what and what leads to what. Right. So that's it. It's a flash in the pan. It's like you demolish a building, it's destroyed. It's fun to see, and then you move on, but it doesn't really leave any substance behind. It's not really all that fun to watch a hundredth time, because there's no value in it. It's just like, oh, that was destroyed. That's pretty cool. All right, moving right along. But it is fun the first time to see it, right? Because because of the novelty. And so you destroy this thing, and then that's it. Like, oh, it makes you feel good, and it does get you a lot of attention because you destroyed a very popular thing. But then there's no real value left behind. You're focusing so much on being destructive that you have built nothing. And that's kind of there's so many people who are like that today, who think they're the first and who think they are the pioneers, but they've been around. They've always been around. And I think some people have seen it. But we're going to check out to see what things are, how things go. But yesterday, if you go by yesterday, yeah, American Psycho, Fight Club, George Orwell, these authors and these books, these guys all kind of notice things about society and put them in a story so that they're easily digestible and entertaining. And that's kind of how we need to have them. That's why authors and artists are so valuable, when they're practicing the craft honestly anyway. And so these people will just notice things in society and kind of commentate on them via story or art piece. But yeah, they predicted they predicted things that would, the big media and society's problems and things like that we covered yesterday. But we're going to check it out, see how Tolkien predicted the failure of Korra in Last Jedi. I'm curious to see what this connection could be. Could be pretty interesting. We'll check it out. We will check it out indeed. All right, chat. All right. Well, let's get down to business. We got some other things too to look at. Should be pretty fun. Red Lamar says, let's see here. Good morning, everyone. Don't forget to get your workouts in today. Absolutely essential. Limp Bizkit says, good morning, LD in the best chat. Hello to Limp Bizkit. Hello to Shadow Electronics says, good morning. All 2 more days until Free Comic Book Day. Comics giveaway day, depending on which one of your comic store is going with. Interesting. Is that every week? Was that every week, or is that once a year? Because I do know about Free Comic Book Day. Never actually participated. Like, what kind of comics do they actually give out? Dr. Crispin says, to be fair, Tolkien hated everything, so he would want today's meeting to fail. You mean to say that Tolkien was based? Awesome. That's pretty cool. Abragioni, good morning. There are so many good ways to ruin a protagonist. They take a long stream, I guess. I guess so. We'll see how it goes. This Lady Fastlot says, good morning, LD Best Chat. This week is going to be a long weekend for me. I straight out 16-hour days. Man, that's rough. Looking forward to a Monday stream for the assist. So tired. We'll see how it goes. I plan to stream this weekend. We're going to stream Smiling Friends on Actually, are we? I've been doing pretty good though. So look, we're over halfway. In fact, we did there was such a generous donations. There's there were so many donations from Vlad, the Shrike, and the Symbiote. Very generous, $50 super chats each. That we are now ahead of schedule for that Smiling Friend stream. Like we're over. Not only are we over halfway the total overall goal, but we are just $35 away from hitting Pillarman today. It's pretty good stuff. Pretty good, I'd say. Thank you much, everyone. But yeah, we're just $35 today. This $35 in super chats today. Boom, we're at Pillarman today. Not too bad. Not too bad. Lady Fastlet says, yeah, 16 hours days. That's rough. But yeah, we'll have a stream today, stream tomorrow, and Twitch streams on the weekend. We gotta do the anime stream from last week, and then looks like we're on the good track to get Smiling Friends up and going again. Do another quite a few episodes. That's a pretty good show so far. And then another anime stream. We'll see how that goes. I found a new anime that's crazy. I'm not really sure if I like it. I can't tell. It's called Helk, and it seems interesting. It seems kind of like kind of funny and casual. But man, if localization was a bat, this got beat the hell like someone owed it money or like it owed someone money. It's just, man, it's like, what is it? I was like, did Vigipop write the dialogue for this? Because everyone's cussing all the time. Like, I've never heard like such localization in my life. It's crazy. But the storyline is kind of interesting. I like the concept of it because it's kind of flipped. So it's like the human hero went ahead and went to the demons, but he's not evil. It is, we kind of slowly uncovered the fact that that humanity is gaining this unnatural power and is trying to dominate the earth, I think, including wiping out the demons. It's already the demons are just regular people, like the demon kin, I guess. So they're not necessarily evil, not necessarily all good either. So it's not that blatant like I thought it was going to be. But it's interesting. It's interesting how it goes, because then the human hero goes over the demon side, or the demon royalty side, and then they have to fight the human king. It's like, that's kind of funny. We'll have to make a party to go fight the human king, which is kind of funny to me. It's interesting. It's goofy and it's retarded, but it's kind of interesting in how it goes. And as I said to Shad Diversity, back on Monday, it's Japanese slop is superior to not only Western slop, but some of the Western blockbusters, which is oddly entertaining to see, and to see the frustrations of the Westerners just bubble up, because all they have to do is not be woke. All they have to do is make a story honestly and not focus so much on destruction and making people angry, and follow an artistic vision. That's all they have to do, but they just refuse to. They just refuse. Every single time they prefer to make people, to trigger people, or to make people angry and to destroy things, rather than build an artistic vision. And that's kind of the core central conflict of wokeness, why it always sucks, because they're not building anything. They're not making anything out of passion. They're making something out of spite, vitriol, and an aching urge to destroy. Doomcock came up with this term a long time ago, cultural vandalism, and it's been the most accurate description I have ever heard. It is still there. It's still pretty accurate, I have to say. Let's see. Stephen Cloud says, good morning. Good morning. What the hell turned out yesterday, LD? Did someone shout you? Huh? What the hell? What the hell of a turnout yesterday? Did someone shout you out or something? I guess shout you out. I don't think so. I don't think so. That's what I know of. And see, but it's pretty fun. Dr. Ery the Forest says, good morning, LD and Best Chat. Next month, I'm starting the ER rotation. Oh man, that's gonna be rough. But yeah, we'll be here. We'll be here, Dr. Ery the Fourth. If you want to tune in to help soothe the day, then I'm not sure how well you can actually, listen to a stream in the ER. That's gonna be rough. But we'll maintain over here. So if you want to, if I want a little escape, then boom, we'll be here. Let's see. A proper Shreve. Today's my 44th birthday. Very nice. Very cool. Well, happy birthday to you, A proper sleeve. Good morning and a happy birthday. Hope you have a fantastic day. Get a nice little cake. And maybe a cigar if you're into those. Pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. Anyway, chat, here we go for your birthday. Time stop. It's birthday time. I need to clip 4 birthdays. They're pretty cool. I'd say that'd be a good idea. Well, hi, brother, to you. Propo Shreve. Hope it's fantastic. It's a Silver Ogre. Welcome. Good morning to Best Devil and Best Chat. Hello to you, Silver Ogre. Welcome. Book Golem says good morning. If anyone else, she says good morning, LD. When getting back to the writing space, it is better to start fresh, or should I return to an incomplete work and continue if I've dwelt on it too long? I mean, I guess it really depends on how you feel. Like if you still feel the same energy for that old work, then try it out. I would say start fresh with a new story, just to warm back up again, and then you can. I think that'd be way better to decide. Something short, some just an intro paragraph or something. See how that goes. See how that feels. And see your chat. Stephen Cloud says human history is a swing pendulum. This era of subversion and deconstruction will pass, and the ashes, new creators will and IP will rise again. That's what's been so interesting about this era of wokeness, is that it was supposed to swing to the right. It was supposed to swing, back over a long time ago, but they've been holding it to the far left artificially with untold amounts of money and like celebrity intervention. Like they've been holding it there because of politics. They're able to hold it on the far left for so long, much longer than it should have. And that's kind of why we're seeing such a rebellion overall. This, like in general, that's why Trump won the popular election, I think, or at least partly why. Because, hey, you're messing with the natural order. It's supposed to swing to the right. You're just holding it to the far left. It's not fair. And so people are like just rebellious now. And America is all about rebellion. And this is why people are tired of all this stuff, but it's not going away. People are tired of wokeness. People are tired of the trans people kind of running everything because they'll cry or whatever. Like right now, everyone is expected to just not buy Harry Potter. Like no Harry Potter books, no audio books, no Hogwarts Legacy 2, because of some random internet strangers who will cry. Like trans people are more important than Harry Potter. Okay, what do you care about Harry Potter? Like, what does it matter? We've never met before. I owe nothing to you. You've never met. I don't know who you. You probably want me dead. You probably want to shoot me. Every single trans comic I've ever seen is about shooting people and killing people and mass murder. So you probably want to kill me. Why should I have your feelings in my considerations when buying a single player video game? Like, shut up. That's retarded. Let's see here, chat. Where are we now? Silver Ogre says Tolkien read a lot more than people think. He was up on the current literature of his time. I mean, I think that seems about right, because he was like an Oxford professor. Megathon says, good morning, LD and Best Chat. So it all circles back to The Last Jedi again. It always comes back. All roads lead back to Rey, and The Last Jedi in particular. Orange Man says, Litdev, Japan has a literature program among the youth, just like America. It's said that Gen Z and Alpha are failing at reading. I mean, I think COVID did a lot of that, a lot of damage, because a lot of those years that it's a lot of those years that they were supposed to be using to develop their reading skills were sent in front of a computer with no real supervision. They just didn't have to do much. And there's ChatGPT. They read Twitter rather than novels, so their attention spans are just fried. And see, Last of a Generation, hello to you. 100 Degree Token's whole thing was trying to bring old British folklore to modern Britain, only for it to not work, and them taking his work and subverting it. Yeah, Agreed. Tolkien's whole thing was trying to bring old British folk. Yeah, because it seemed to be really interested in British folklore and folklore in general. Like he seemed to be a mythologist, which was pretty cool. But yeah, after a while, most people don't really want to see the old stuff. They want new pop literature. Let's see, Cardi Catchers, good morning, Let's have best chat. If you do decide to watch Black Rock Shooter, make sure you get the correct one. It's only 8 episodes. I don't think it ever got a dub. There's another one. It's another one called Black Rock Shooter. Let's see. I'll check it out. See if it's on Crunchyroll. We can't really do it. But if it's not, then maybe we can do it. Let's see your chat. Last of a Generation, it is not really a vandalism. It's something that happens when cultures change in America. We don't understand this because every generation changes America. We actually have no traditions. We do. We have a lot of American traditions, but this one was artificial. And this one is vandalism. It is vandalism. They say it because they try to destroy it. Now, I've talked about it a lot though. that my professor says there is a moment where we will shift eras. This happens everywhere, not just America. We do shift eras, and the new era will usually begin their era by mocking the old one, but usually it's out of love and adoration or something like that, or trying to subvert it in some way. But this one, but usually they have artistic visions when they do that. Usually they have artistic vision, like Star Wars was kind of one. Like Star Wars was jumped off of the old serials and the was it Flash Gordon and everything. Like Star Wars jumped off of that, but then it made its own vision. Like I say, it made its own story. And same with Indiana Jones. See, the whole transition is a new era dawns, and it really starts. It still feels like the old stuff, and then but it has a little bit of artistic vision. It's what happens. Same thing that happened with superheroes. We had pulp characters. We had like Doc Savage. We had Conan, and then we shifted into a new era with Superman and the dawn of the superhero, and that became its own thing. Because the pulp guys were essentially the fathers of the superhero. So that's how it usually goes. But usually it's about having an artistic vision. These guys are specifically here to disrupt things. It was as we see, as we hear anyway, in the Glass Onion rant by Ryan Johnson. His Glass Onion rant. Yeah, it was Glass Onion. So they are just, that's why it's so destructive. That's why it's so that's why we still love Superman today. That's why we love Conan today. Right? We still are still making Conan stuff. We still talk about Star Wars. A lot of these things, a lot of these transitional pieces, where they kind of take heavy influence from the previous era to kind of help christen the new one. We still talk about, and we still enjoy, we still read, we still even make things from those eras today. But why woke things are not really all that great unless we're making fun of them is because they don't have an artistic vision. Their whole thing is destroying things. So yeah, it is cultural vandalism, 100%. Let's see. Silver Ogre, welcome new member. Silver Ogre, welcome. Let's see here. Let me get the right clip here. Here we go. Boom. Nice. And see, welcome new member Silver Ogre. Hello. Let's see here, chat. Jason Morello says, I don't get with the universe that with polyjuice trans isn't a condition. I mean, you have to keep making it. I think it might be the only thing is that you have to keep making it or something. But because like what was it? And Half-Blood Prince, Crab and Goyle were I think they were not only taking polyjuice potion to be girls, they were taking polyjuice potion to be like little girls. Like they were like first years and second years to make themselves seem less conspicuous, while Draco Malfoy messed around with the cabinet in the Room of Requirement. Let's see. Working nights. I have a rare day shift today. Oh, nice. Very cool. Welcome, Silver Ogre. Welcome. Let's see here. Let's see, chat. Gregory 90 says, good morning, this is best chat. I read the boys' Herogasm volume. I heard it couldn't be adapted to the show. It could have been toned down. Also, which modern failure did Tolkien predict? We'll check it out. See how it goes. We'll check out the video in a little bit here. And see. Where are we now? Dracan Demigod. Good morning, Vietnam. Hello to Dracan Demigod. Good morning. Hello to you. Where are we now? See, Blue Collar Logic. Yo, hello to Blue Collar Logic, and hello to Carne Ketchel. Thanks for the $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Yes. Hello to you. There's 3 Black Rock shooter shows. Oh, there's 3? BRS, the OVA, BRS is series, and man, is it that popular? They have like 3 versions of it in that order. Dawnfall came out 2 years ago on Disney Plus. Okay, it's on Disney Plus. That might be doable. Pretty cool stuff. But I guess I don't know. But what's BRS? What's a BRS? I know what the OVA is. Never heard the BR. Oh, BRS, the OVA, Black Rock Shooter. That was like another like format or something. But yeah, this BRS a series and BRS Downfall, and that Downfall came out 2 years ago. Is it that good that it has like a new thing? That's interesting. That's pretty interesting. It's a Megalthon. Thanks for that 31 months of support. Thank you much, Megalthon. 31 months. Jeez, yeah. Much Megalodon. Very cool. Very cool. Absolutely. It's thank you very much. And then Caravaggio, welcome. Tolkien knew that Europe was threatened with destruction. He lived through it. He lived through a war. He was very familiar. In fact, a lot of these guys that helped make modern American culture came from harsher experiences like war. Then we have the soy boys who came in today who just think they know better than everyone else, but don't. And so their stories are legitimately terrible. They come from a place of privilege and ignorance as opposed to actually lived real life experience and learning how the real world operates. And see, Ben Parker says PB and J, Breakfast of Champions, which start with grape, strawberry, or raspberry. I don't know. They're all pretty good. I think I like strawberry actually. Let's see. Limfen says, praise be to LD, but of course, Space King. Today's racist jokes just correspond with 70 Party Law Center. Yeah, come on. Like, how do you get some of that money from the Southern Poverty Law Center? Like, there's funding hate crimes so they can blame the right wing. That was pretty funny. Like, send me my check. Where do I get in on this? I want my check to come in. Let's see, chat. Let me know. Says, also, I'm half an hour late and we're still on hellos. Did LD oversleep again? No, I think we started pretty much on time. All right, chat. Well, let's get down to business. Here we go. Where is it? Here we go. It's around here somewhere. All right, here it is. So the first one is how did J.R. Tolkien predict the failure of Korra and Last Jedi? It's only 11 minutes, so it shouldn't be too bad. Let's get down to business, shall we? All right. How J.R. Tolkien predicted this. It should be interesting. I wonder what you have to say about this. Carter Kitchen says, BRS is heavily focused on psychological trauma. That's interesting. That's pretty cool. So it's going to be more like introspective than like a... It's kind of like I don't know anything about the show. So it kind of feels like it's going to be kind of like the... What's it called? The Killer or something like that, with Fassbender. I don't know. Could be interesting. But check it out, chat. Let's go. How J.R. Tolkien predicted the failure of Korra and The Last Jedi.
And the Republic collapsed. What if I told you that the greatest fantasy writer ever, J.R.R. Tolkien, foresaw this narrative failure decades ago? It all comes down to his abandoned sequel, The New Shadow. Tolkien saw a horrifying truth, a truth that Hollywood constantly ignores, a truth born from Tolkien's journey, a truth which has doomed Star Wars and Avatar: The Last Airbender. In Tolkien's first works, men fought against dragons, wraiths, and trolls, but in The New Shadow, humans were becoming orcish. The great deeds of Frodo and Aragorn were all but forgotten, and the roots of evil ran deep into their society. Gondor was no longer facing a danger that could be warded off by guards and walls, as this new dark shoot was growing and festering from within. Despite the loss of countless lives, including Boromir, Gondor had forgotten the sacrifices of this previous generation, and had devolved into a cankerous evil. The stark truth is extremely disheartening, especially when considering the physical suffering endured by Frodo and Sam. Frodo even lost his finger, and of course his spirit was shattered. Even after destroying the ring, Frodo spoke to Sam, saying, "I have been too deeply hurt, Sam. I tried to save the Shire, and it has been saved, but not for me." But now all of Frodo and Sam's sacrifice had been completely forgotten, and it seemed that it had zero effect on Middle-earth. So was Frodo's sacrifice even worth it? Was there a higher meaning behind his suffering? The Lord of the Rings wrapped up the story arcs of Frodo, Aragorn, and others like a tight parcel. Frodo finished his adventure and traveled to the west with Bilbo and the elves. Aragorn took his rightful throne and married Arwen. Sauron and Saruman were defeated, the ring was destroyed, and the world saved. There were some other questions that were left unanswered, like what Aragorn's rule looked like, what his descendants would be like, or what the world looked like after the elves and their magic had to leave. These questions, like unopened parcels, are exciting because we can imagine the future. This in itself is a gift to the reader, but making a sequel...
So here's the troubling part of it all, is that we as readers want to see these heroes go through all of this and then come out the other end of the happy ending, right? And that's kind of what we get in Lord of the Rings. But it's a little bit bittersweet. It's not exactly like, storybook ending, but we do want to see everyone get their rewards for all the suffering and all the hard work they put in, and all the suffering they went through. However, uh, sometimes writers don't want to do that. Sometimes the writer's like, okay, I got to write a sequel, so there has to be more trauma and more conflict, right? So all that crap is, all that stuff they did, soup it away, soup it away. And it's exactly what happened with the Star Wars sequels. They took the victories of our heroes Han, Luke, and Leia and crushed them, just destroyed them. And then the Rise of Sky, and then of course the Last Jedi set up to where we had no villain anymore because he's like, oh, what if we killed the main bad guy in the third or in the second installment? Thinking that, oh, I'm just going to be disruptive and destroy this traditional formula just to be, destructive, and then leave the third movie without a main villain. So somehow that's why somehow Palpatine returned. You can, as I was saying, that can't be done. I mean, you can have it where like, okay, the guy we thought was a bad guy dies in the second installment, but you have to set it up, right? You have to set it up. In this one, it's like it was J.J. Abrams had a plan, and they brought in Rian Johnson for the second one, and he just kind of disrupted that plan by making a twist that was never set up for. And so everyone was left scrambling for the third movie, like, what the hell did we do? Rian Johnson screwed us all over. Then somehow Palpatine returned. So at the end of it all, the sequel series ended up having wiping out the victories of Han, Luke, and Leia. Swiping that out, making Luke Skywalker miserable, killing Han off as a deadbeat dad, and making Leia, I assume, who was going to be a lesbian, have Holdo be your lesbian lover. Like, if you watch that movie again, Last Jedi, it's like, who is this lady? Why is Leia and Admiral Holdo like saying goodbye as if they're saying goodbye to lovers? Like, the Admiral Holdo's walked in on the ship and started being an absolute nuclear level bitch, and that's about it. She was a bitch for the entire movie, and then suddenly we're supposed to feel bad that she's going to go off and die. I'm pretty sure she did the resistance a favor by offering herself, but we're supposed to like read into this whole sad goodbye between her and Leia. Oh, I did. And I'm like, okay, you're gonna try to make Leia a lesbian, weren't you? That's my guess. Like, why did that touching goodbye between the two come out of absolutely freaking nowhere? But that's kind of what happened. That's kind of what happened here. They would be a big part of why we didn't like the sequels so much is because the sequels went on and wiped out and made meaningless the victories of Han, Luke, and Leia in a huge way. What you want to have happen is you want to have the sequel come out that respects the victories of the previous heroes, but then you can give us a new conflict. Like, it's something new. I mean, heck, Freyrin does this pretty well. Like, they killed the Demon King, but it's still, there's still troubles in the world, right? Beyond Journey's End is not the Demon King is back somehow. That'd be stupid. Of course, there would be there's inevitably going to be a new Demon King, but it's not like the guy that we thought we killed is back, even though he exploded twice. And then everything we did meant nothing. That'd be too stupid. All right, but instead we get like new little things that pop up, like, oh, that great sage is going to unlock and start wreaking havoc and everything, right? So, those are like cleanup conflicts and stuff. And then here's a new demon threat that's coming in. It's not as big as a Demon King, but it is a demon machination we want to stop. And that's kind of where that's the strength of Freyrin. It knows how to respect the previous accomplishments of the previous heroes, and then give you new conflicts. All right. So the whole thing with Tolkien saying, "Oh yeah, all that stuff that happened in Lord of the Rings," it's nonsense. It all falls to hell. Maybe not the best idea, right? Maybe not the best idea.
Thanks a gift from the
like, how come Aragorn was forgotten? Right. This makes no sense in the context that that Aragorn would be forgotten, unless it's been a real long time since that happened. Because remember, Isildur was remembered for 2,000 years. Why was that guy remembered? Even though he took the ring and stole it and then was corrupted by it and was killed because of it, why is that guy remembered, but Aragorn is not? Didn't they both fight Sauron? They both fought against Sauron. Aragorn was a big leader in that battle. Why is Aragorn forgotten but not Isildur? It doesn't make any sense. So I guess we'll see what happens. I never heard of this story before, but I think I know where he's going to go with this particular example, and that is we do not like it. We just do not like it when the accomplishments of the heroes for the previous story are made meaningless and worthless. and their value is wiped out. We do not like that. Okay. Same thing with Samurai Jack. The last one, everyone was upset that Ashi vanished, right? Because why is it that Jack went through 50 years of suffering and then his happy ending gets stolen? You were the guys that were going to give him this happy ending. Like, you were the guy, the writers of Samurai Jack were the guys that said, okay, Ashi and Jack are together now. Like, they're going to, their happy ending is ending up together. And they do, and then because Aku is no longer a thing, it never goes into the future because Jack kills him here. Ashi is never a thing, so she just vanishes, and that's kind of the end of the show. Why? Does Jack gets no reward for all of his suffering, all of his fighting? That's ridiculous. Okay, we as readers, that's not. A lot of readers are going to find that, oh, that's profound, man. No, readers are going to be like, what the hell is this? This is garbage. Because that's what it feels like. But if you spent you watched 3 movies for it to conclude with the Fall of the Empire and Fall of Palpatine, only for it to only for the sequels to be like, oh yeah, he's back now. The Empire's back now. Like, what? That I would then the original trilogy is a waste of time because it really accomplished nothing. And then, so yeah, if we have like a sequel to Lord of the Rings where it's just all about Aragorn being forgotten and then all the humans becoming evil and all that stuff, then I was like, okay, so what? If Sauron comes back, it's a really big clincher. But like, it feels like, they did all that work and then it just falls to pieces. That's not very happy. That's not very cool. I don't really like that very much.
Reader's hand. And while the writer may think that he's crafting a worthwhile story, he's now risking shattering the idealized endings now cherished by his fans. Tolkien quickly realized that the new
him with the hero respect to the heroes who came before. That's good. It's exactly, who else says stuff like this? Alan Moore. Like, he had a quote I used in one of my videos a long time ago, was that if you're a writer, it is a respectable tradition, but you have to respect the men and women who have done this before you. Alan Moore said this, and he's a communist. But no one is woke when it comes to something they actually care about. They become reasonable all of a sudden. And so, Alan Moore is like, you have to respect the people who came before you in this tradition, the writer's profession. You have to. If you don't, you're going to fall to ruin.
Shadow would harm the integrity of its predecessor. This is a lesson which would soon be learned by Star Wars fans. One of the biggest issues with the Disney sequel series was a fundamental misunderstanding of what Star Wars was meant to be. Oftentimes, fans or critics refer to Star Wars as a sci-fi story, erroneously focusing on droids, spaceships, and planet-shattering weapons. But these are actually superficial details in the Star Wars saga. George Lucas spoke about the Star Wars story, explaining,
"It's a family soap opera. I mean, ultimately. We call it space opera, but people don't realize it's actually a soap opera. And it's all about family problems and it's not about spaceships."
Star Wars told the story of Anakin, his fall into darkness, and his son who beckoned him back into the light. It was a tragic failure, also an epic redemption. The futuristic elements were simply just ornamental, and now Darth Vader's biggest triumph, defeating the Emperor, was thrown away, as the Emperor never truly died. Additionally, the Skywalker family was completely annihilated, and their story was now replaced by that of Palpatine's bloodline. The story was no longer about redemption, but simply...
Rey came in and became the new Skywalker. So there's no more Skywalkers, technically speaking. They've all been wiped out. Palpatine, however, gets to reign the day. Palpatine gets to survive. His bloodline is, even though that's kind of weird, when? But when did he have all these kids? Apparently. So Palpatine's bloodline won. The Skywalkers are all dead. The blood of Numenor is all but spent, or the blood of Skywalker is all but spent, right? That's going to what happened.
Not succumbing to evil. Star Wars beautifully wrapped up the character arcs of Luke, Han, and Leia. Luke redeemed his father, the Emperor had been defeated, and Han and Leia were now together. Still, we were left with a plethora of questions. How would Luke restore the Jedi Order? How would the Republic be restored? What would Han's and Leia's family life be like? And how would their children turn out? These unanswered questions were wrapped up inside a parcel. They were a gift which belonged to Star Wars fans. The sequel tried to answer these questions that were once left up to the viewer to imagine, opening up Parcells' best left untouched, often ruining the ideal and hopeful endings for these questions that fans had wished for, and trashing the legacies of the original characters, unnecessarily. What would Luke's new Jedi Order look like? Nothing, because he failed. Would Han and Leia live a happily ever after? No.
No, because Han apparently at some point becomes a deadbeat dad again, goes to smuggle things, and then dies. And then Leia leaves, and then Leia turns away from him to get with Admiral Holdo, apparently.
They get the
That's my guess with that they were going. And I'm pretty sure Disney was like, no, you can't just do that, Ryan Johnson.
divorced, and Han lost everything except his car and his pet monkey. What would this new republic that Han, Luke, and Leia had given their lives for look like? Nothing. It was completely irrelevant and powerless, basically having become a new ragtag rebellion. Just like Tolkien's New Shadows stripped away the sacrifice and triumphs of the Fellowship, Han, Luke, and Leia's sacrifice and victories were all just thrown away.
You know what's interesting about the sequel series of Star Wars is that Leia's resistance was just on her own. Like it was not government sanctioned. I don't think. I think it had some like private and secret support from some of the senators or whatever, but it was kind of her own thing. Like the resistance was not an official organization. This is something that I think she formed in order to fight against the First Order, which tells you a lot, doesn't it? It tells you that this new republic can't see a threat in the First Order. It makes no sense. Like are they that in like they just built this thing? What, 30 years ago? 40 years ago? It already is this bloated and incompetent, really? Like the last one lasted 1,000 generations. This new one can't even last 30 years. Like what the hell? Or 40 years or whatever. It can't even do that. It's like it's only been a few decades and it's already fat and bloated and it's like, you know what? That whole First Order thing, it's nothing. You know, they say it's nothing until they get shotgunned to death by a gigantic world obliterating shotgun. So it's that incompetent that Leia has to go off on her own to fight them with her little ragtag resistance group. Like that's retarded. Like this whole thing is retarded. The entire sequel series is just nonsense, absolute retardation.
Luckily, Tolkien had enough self-respect and foresight to can the sequel before it could have vandalized The Lord of the Rings, and robbed the fans of the gift which had been given to them. Star Wars isn't the only series to have been ruined by a sequel. Avatar: The Last Airbender had also been destroyed in a similar way.
Oh no. No. You're right. But you know, this is always a painful topic because Avatar: The Last Airbender is such a legendary series. It's so legendary. It's so good. Everything about it is so good. I mean, it's not perfect, like because nothing is, but it's so good. Like the characterization, the storyline, where it goes, what it handles, how it handles things. It's so good. It handles so many things that would normally be unthinkable in a kid's show, and it handles it well. It's so good. But then, and then they could have kept that going with some cool follow-up series after follow-up series. They could have done so much with it. But essentially, they went woke like right away and ruined everything. And all they had to do was not be woke. All these guys, all Westerners have to do is not be woke. And that's not to say that they have to, like, you know, everything has to be straight and white. That's their version of it. That's kind of what their cope is. That, as long as we make it as if DI and woke means non-white. I was always make it seem like if people asking for things not to be woke means, you just want straight white men. And no, it's never been the case. Hello, have you seen American media, American movies and things? It's always been diverse. All right, the DI stuff is just that. It's forced diversity. It is something that is implemented to by mandate instead of story-driven vision. Right, instead of creative vision, it's enforced by mandate. And so that's what makes it DEI. And also within the story, what makes the narrative DEI or woke is that you're only supposed to write certain characters in certain ways, or else it's a no-go. It's politically incorrect. Like you can't have like if you have a woman in there and she's feminine or traditional or she's obsessive about a man or something like that, that's suddenly politically incorrect. It's not woke. It's not correct to have that portrayal. She has to act like a man, talk like a man, have a man's job, be a strong, independent woman, things like that. right? You can't, like, in the 90s, you had all kinds of racial stereotypes. Can't do that now because it's frowned upon to portray minorities in a stereotypical or negative way, even if it's not like a minority bashing. It's like, okay, well, this guy's a gangster, so he can't be a minority. Otherwise, people are going to think that, oh, are all Mexicans like this? So that's why a lot of the bad guys are white now. To get everyone's fighting Russians and stuff. It's always the Russians. We used to have, like, back in the 2000s, right? Every bad guy was like a Arabic terrorist, Islamic terrorist, but that's racist now, so we can't do that. So the thing is, the Islamic terrorism guys were actually our enemies, so we made a lot of movies about it. But now it's like, okay, well, we have to have, you can't portray minorities as bad in any way, really. It's frowned upon, and it's very rare. Okay, it's kind of why they even made that whole documentary that's about, like, this harasser on a train, and he's just a young man, and he's white in the documentary, but he was black in real life. That's where we are. So that is DI and woke. It's not necessarily not diverse. It's like, oh, everything has to be white. That's not the case. It has never been the case. Ever been the case. Ever. It's about the agenda behind why these things are enforced. And it's not just wokeness and DEI stuff. It's everything. It's all the same problem. And this goes back to even, like, old school fan fiction. And what, like, Rey, for example, is not a girl boss. She is just a stereotypical Mary Sue, like, from fan fiction or a romance novel, I guess you could say. But her problem is that it's the same thing. You're putting something else before the narrative. It's become dishonest. Okay, you're putting the celebration of Rey's existence above all else, and that's kind of what makes her Mary Sue, and that's kind of what ruins a storyline, because everything must bend around that prerogative, that goal. All right. Same thing with old school fan fiction. If you go back and you look at fan fiction, you read fan fiction, and if the author has a different goal in mind, as opposed to just dedicating themselves to the narrative, it becomes garbage. Essentially, it sways off the beaten path. Same thing with religious focused movies and things. Right. Their goal is not to portray a story. Well, here's the contrast. If they're making a Bible story movie, like David and Goliath or something like that, it could be good because those are actual stories, and all you gotta do is adapt it. But if you're making a modern day religious story where it's about, like, ingratiating the religion and bashing atheists or something like that, then we have a problem. It's no longer honest storytelling, because your goal is not to explore the religion or explore some event that happened that connects to religion. It's we want to bash atheists, and we want to ingratiate, we want to portray our religion as the best religion ever, which I can sympathize with, but it makes a story dishonest. It does. It just makes a story dishonest and makes a story terrible, which is why religious movies in America have a bad reputation, because they tend to be terrible. Now, again, if you just adapt, like Moses, like the Prince of Egypt, it's a Bible story, and it's really good because it's a story, right? It's not about saying that our religion is best or how these atheists are dumb. It's about, here's a cool story from the Bible. Let's retell it with some fantastic animation. So that's a little bit different. That's the difference there. You can still have religious-based stories or stories that are connected to religion, but you have to focus on the story. You have to make sure the narrative is the main goal to produce. Like, you can't have an ulterior motive, because your story will show that. And that's kind of where we go into the Mary Sue. When we have a Mary Sue, right, the goal is not to tell a cool story. The goal is to make the Mary Sue look as cool as possible, which organically leads us to all the traditional trimmings of a Mary Sue. You know, they're overpowered. Everyone likes them, and they're always right. They're never wrong. Things like that. And the big one, character-centric morality, where if you like the Mary Sue, then you're either a good guy or you're able to be redeemed. If you don't like the Mary Sue, you're a bad guy or you're going to betray somebody. Sorry, that. So that's a big difference here. It's not therefore woke. It's woke, therefore it's terrible. It's the only thing that makes the story bad. It's because it's a different face of the same problem. When a writer goes in and has an ulterior motive other than pushing the narrative along, you got issues. You will have issues. And I mean, sometimes it does happen to a story. That's kind of when an editor usually comes in, or when you rewrite, like, oh my goodness, I had a whole different thing I was thinking about when I was writing this. Let me go ahead and restructure it. It tends to happen. But if you are so arrogant that you don't let anyone, correct you on this, and you go, you stay on this trajectory of, I want to do XYZ instead of focusing on a really cool, organic, honest narrative, then yeah, you get The Last Jedi. That's what happens.
Both stories centered around a ragtag team of young rebels fighting against tyrannical empires. In both Star Wars and Avatar: The Last Airbender, the protagonist is a young, inexperienced male endowed with great mystical powers. Luke is the Last Jedi, and Aang is the Last Airbender.
Yes. Usually this is the trajectory of a male hero. Usually it's the men that do the hero's journey, typically speaking. Your traditional hero's journey at the very least. Which is why it's all male-centric, because men are the ones usually doing these things. Now, you can have a woman's story, but it's not the same thing. Like, if you just did Star Wars again and replaced Luke with a girl, it would still be a man's story, a very masculine story, because it's still have physical conflict and spiritual enlightenment. That's what men like to see. All right, so that's why you can still have superhero stories star a bunch of women, and there'll still be a bunch of men in the seats, as proven by the Birds of Prey movie, which was awful, absolutely terrible. What women would prefer to see is something like The Labyrinth, for example. Labyrinth is really good. That's a really good version of what a woman's hero's journey is like. It's really good. So is K-pop Demon Hunters, but the one I typically go to would be The Labyrinth, because it has everything in. Sarah faces everything a man does in his journey, except it's more woman centric. It's about emotion and social conflict, as opposed to physical and spiritual. Anyway.
Both of their clans were exterminated by these evil empires, which are now hunting them. And while both Luke and Aang have incredible talent, they also possess the foibles which are commonly present amongst young men, and need to mature greatly before they can face off against the tyrannical despots which hunt them. And most importantly, both Avatar and Star Wars have Mark Hamill. In many ways, Luke and Aang are both considered prodigies. At the same time, both
at the beginning of The Labyrinth, Sarah's a bitch. Same thing like Luke Skywalker in the beginning of Star Wars. He's a whiny guy. He's a whiny little brat. Like, so I guess you could say. Same thing with Aang. Like, he's not whiny. But he is a kid still. Like, he wants to run away from problems. And over the course of the series, he gets better. Like, he starts facing down his problems. He starts, figuring out that I do have to embrace my role as Avatar. And Luke Skywalker does the same. He's a whiny, arrogant, I guess not really arrogant, but like, I guess a little bit. He's a little bit, because he kind of talks back to Han a little bit. He's very full of himself, and he's full of that youthful bravado. Like, let's go save the princess and everything, which almost gets him killed, and does get Obi-Wan Kenobi killed. Now, over the course of the trilogy, he grows and matures, and then we get to see the culmination of all this. Boom! In the Return of the Jedi. Now, The Empire Strikes Back, he's still not perfected. He's better, but not perfected, because that's the whole conflict is he goes off to save his friends, even though Yoda says do not do that. And what happens? The only thing he accomplishes is getting his hand cut off and getting dominated by Darth Vader. That's all that happens. But it's a big moment for Luke Skywalker's journey. And so it shows you that he's gotten better, but still has a long way to go. And that's the big thing. Anyway, chat, we got a guest in the back room. Let's see who this could possibly be. Where is it? And welcome, Glib.
Hello, children.
Welcome. Let's see here, chat. Let's see here. So Ben Parker says, didn't that happen in Rogue One? Let's have the MC was simply gender swapped, even though it was written for a man. I didn't know that happened. Like, it was what the main character was supposed to be a dude, and they kind of replaced it with Felicity Jones. I mean, her character was way better in the trailer. She's like, I rebel.
She's so boring, dude.
It's very boring. I even watched her in Inferno. Cause I got a weakness for Dan Brown stories, even though the endings are usually pretty bad, but the stories are pretty awesome. Inferno was like the least awesome. Like, it was the most boring of the three, I think.
The thing about her is that she's brunette and she's from Britain,
England.
And that was like the only thing you needed to be a Kathleen Kennedy hero. Yeah, because she did that with like every character.
Every character is a brunette British woman. Yeah,
It's Daisy Ridley too.
exactly. Even though I do like Daisy Ridley, I saw her in
Really?
Orient Express. She was pretty. I mean, she's not great, but she was pretty fine there. I liked her acting in there. She carried the role all right because she wasn't the main character. She's really good as not the main character, I think.
I thought it was so crazy that the way that they casted these things, because like Carrie Fisher, she was in one I think one movie before Star Wars in 1976, and her parents, one of them is Debbie Reynolds, who's like one of the most famous, you know, tap dance, dancing around, acting ingenues from earlier Hollywood. And her father was Eddie Fisher, I want to say his name is, and he was like a crooner. And so she grew up like in the heart of Hollywood. So she is a Hollywood princess. You know, George couldn't really pick a better. She's young, she's Hollywood, she's precocious, she's perfect for playing the role that the princess character based on the Hidden Fortress, right? And then you have Luke Skywalker, and Luke Skywalker is played by Mark Hamill, and he's a upcoming young actor. He's been in a couple movies, but he hasn't really been a lead actor yet, so they're not sure. Maybe he is a lead, maybe he's not, but he's got this real positive energy, and you can see it if you watch the screen tests. He's the best out of all of them. And Harrison Ford was actually added in last because they didn't know. They were looking for like Tom Selleck, or they were looking for, you know, somebody that would be a little bit, you know, crustier, a little older. And that was Harrison Ford. And they had already worked together in American Graffiti because he was Bob Falfa, right? He was Boba Fett. And so what they did was he was doing carpentry for Francis Ford Coppola at the site.
That's right. It was famous. He was famously a carpenter. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's still a carpenter, which is really funny to talk about. But he's there, and he's a pilot, which is funny too. And he's a daring, brash pilot as well.
I know he was a pilot.
He landed the wrong way on a runway once, and everybody got mad at him. Anyway, but the point is that these characters all clicked, and they all perfectly worked together in the the experiments that they were doing beforehand. All right, do this scene. What about this scene? You know, what does this sound like? If these two people are acting together in a scene, what does that screen test sound like? But then when you go to The Force Awakens, the reason that they chose Daisy Ridley was because she cried so well on command. It's like, what was the rest of it?
Yeah, that seems so womanly, like a little bit. How she can cry really well. She's emotionally intelligent. They probably excuse it by saying, Daisy Ridley is emotionally intelligent because she can cry really well.
Like they thought that was like, okay, this is like a female Luke Skywalker. But the problem is that you have all these other actors that are in it, and you're like, where do they fit? How do you have Oscar Isaac, who's older than the rest of them, who should be more of the Han Solo guy, maybe a little bit more, because he's already been in a bunch of movies. He's already been the lead in a bunch of movies. And he's a character.
I like him as Leto Atreides.
He's good in that. He's good in Drive as Standard Gabriel. He's good in Inside Llewyn Davis as the main character, where he learned to play guitar for it. I've seen him be good in almost everything. He was good in what's called Ex Machina, where he's the rich guy who designs the robots. He's
really wasted in the Star Wars movies, the sequel ones. Like he's not.
Yeah, they just have some pink-haired lady call him a hotshot flyboy that gets people killed when they're the ones that are getting people killed. So there's no dynamic, is what I'm saying. There's no aspect of a New Hope 2.0 that mirrors the originals, like how we're gonna slot these characters in. And then they drop the template. There's no princess character. That's just Daisy Ridley's character. There's no amazing, one of the characters isn't a wizard, or, you know what I mean? That's just Daisy Ridley. Yeah. Like every character in the Star Wars has to be played by the Mary Sue, which is why she got called a Mary Sue. So they fucked up. They really, really fucked up in every way possible.
Let's see. As a last of a generation says, and if you haven't figured out, I'm talking about Tolkien didn't want to end up his 20th book where Aragorn fighting Sauron's evil. That would be pretty funny. But yeah, it kind of reminds me of the whole Deadpool thing. Till you're 90, that sort of thing. That's kind of what would happen. Now, on that topic, though, this is why I do respect the creator of Amazing Digital Circus. because Major Digital Circus only had 8 episodes, and they addressed the issue of, are you going to make a season 2? And they said no. It's not because
Nice.
they ran out of time or anything like that. Their whole thing, the explanation was, that's it. That's the end of the story. We're going to have 9 episodes. The 9th episode being the finale of the entire series, as opposed to just a season finale, because that's the story we want to tell. They even said that, we can push it to 5 seasons or whatever, but it's all going to be empty filler, because this is the story we want to tell from beginning to end. So, they kind of cut out the whole thing about we gotta have this go on forever kind of thing.
Producers don't want to hear that, though. They want to hear that you have a million bajillion seasons or whatever.
Just like endless story machine.
What if they went to space?
That's kind of what built the Sandman a little bit. Like Neil Gaiman's Sandman, he was like, okay, well, I have my character has to be like an endless immortal, so I have all of time and space. All right, that's my story and shit. Let's see. J.J. Emerson says, I respect Samurai Champloo for that, along with Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, I love those are some of my 2 favorite anime. I like Cowboy Bebop, and that's like legitimately probably the better one. But I do prefer Samurai Champloo.
I don't know if you can say that. That's like saying, is Lord of the Rings better than Star Wars? It's like, well, they're just different. They're not
very
the same.
different. Well, Samurai Champloo is more my style. It's kind of like, it's serious but also goofy. Like there's like at one point they're fighting like this guy who has a philosophy of like, I'm already dead and I want to get, and I'm walking through life an empty husk of a person because of my past trauma. And then we have a baseball episode where they fight the Americans in baseball. It's like,
yes,
it's like I like where it goes. That everyone dies. The Japanese team getting everyone killed. Like they're all dying. Let's see.
Lack spiritual maturity that inhibit their growth and almost leads both of them to deny their destinies. Luke struggles to lift his X-Wing out of the swamp, and he almost rage quits. And Aang faced great difficulty earthbending and also didn't want to learn to firebend, as it reminded him of his greatest failure. In the end, both Aang and Luke overcame these barriers and accepted their destinies and heroically overcame evil. Aang's and Luke's victories were sweet because of their bitter struggle that preceded them.
And see, the $10 super chat, Garfield's Bizarre Adventures. Thank you much for the $10 super chat. Says, looks like Darren Wagner's campaign isn't going to fun, even with EBS's promotion. EBS did not deliver his 6-year late book. He's chased away potential backers. No refunds. Thank you much, Garfield's Bizarre Adventure. Let me give him one of these.
I'd say EVS made a couple bizarre decisions there strategically.
All right, thank you very much for the $10 super chat. Going to bump that up there. We got to put more work into it now. And I think it's the numbers have been down all over actually. Every you know what? On that note, I got an email from Indiegogo saying that, hey, we're noticing a lot of people aren't meeting their goals.
Really?
Yeah, I got an email from them. Hold on.
I don't think people should put up their funding requests too early into the process. I think that's a big deal for a lot of people. I know. I think that the thing that Ripa did that I thought was really smart was he went, this is almost done. Here, do you want to buy it? And then everyone was like, oh yeah, it's right there. I can buy it. And then there's not a lot of lag time between that and when you get the delivery, because that's what everybody's judging you on. Because people forget. They forget that they bought something.
Yeah, and also people forget when it's delivered. It's like the whole gripe is it's been so long. Like where is it? Which is understandable. But people tend to forget when you have it in your hands. Like, oh, I have it now. Awesome, all is forgiven. And usually that tends to happen. But I got an email from them. It says, your campaign success matters to us. And it's an Indiegogo email. It says, at Indiegogo, our mission is to empower creators around the world to bring their ideas to life by connecting them with a global community of backers. We are committed by supporting every campaign and helping creators achieve meaningful success on a platform. Recently, we've noticed that many campaigns are facing setbacks in reaching their goals. One of our top priorities is to ensure that every creator has the best possible chance to succeed. Support this, we have partnered with a trusted marketing team that specializes in promoting kits. So they had to part of the trusted marketing team because a lot of their people are not meeting their goals on the platform. A lot of them haven't done that. So I don't think it's all fair to put all on EVS's shoulders.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like his reputation would be a lot better if he had just delivered and he hadn't, made a fool of himself a couple times.
That
It
is
just
true.
is very true.
That is he like the whole like it's been 6 years and everything. Like he acknowledges that too. Like it is an issue, and people have every right to be angry at that. It's a long time. I mean, 6 years.
I think it's messed up. I think it's messed up to think like, am I delivering to somebody who's already died or something like that because it's been so long? Like, I don't want to think that.
That's happened before. Not with me, with other people. Like some of the backers have died since they backed it.
That's
but yeah,
brutal.
that would be an issue. That would be an issue. But yeah, so I mean, it's fair. That is definitely an issue. But it's all over the place, and Indiegogo has acknowledged it. So it's because Indiegogo, like the comic portion of Indiegogo, very low on their list of priorities. Like they're talking about the big projects and video games, like especially video games, the new Indiegogo platform. So they're talking. So it's not like a couple of comics fail and they send out this email. It's a lot of things. Like it's all down across the board apparently. Let's see. Hold on. Lady Fassa with a 5,500 cheers is because Glib took time to visit us. Wow, that's a lot of cheers. Let's see.
Yeah, this having it on my phone completely revolutionized this for me because now I can make more time available instead of having to sit at the computer, which I don't always have time. So I'm happy about that. Sorry if my audio quality is not there.
No problem. And see, Lady Fassa, let's send another 5,000 cheers. That's insane. That's a lot of money. A lot of cheers. Thank you much, Lady Fastlot. Very, very generous. And then, what's this? Duran Iron Knuckles. Actually, this 50 gifted memberships. Thank you very much. That's $100. It's just a straight up Pillarman. That's insane. That's crazy. That's crazy. Thank you much, everyone. Appreciate it. That's a lot of money. Hold on.
Very much appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get this all up here.
It'll be 5,000 cheers and 100 subs when we reach Alderaan.
It's a moon base. Let's see.
200 subs, huh? 200 subs. We could almost buy our own shit for that.
Lady Fast says, did you send like $105? Insane. It's crazy. Thank you much, everyone. It's one time 5,000 bits. I hate Switch to set up. See, it's just one time. That's still really good. That's still really good. Like, did you send like twice? That's pretty crazy. But thank you very much. Yeah, definitely Pillarman time. Absolutely. Thank you very much, everyone. And then this is for Lady Fastlot. Thank you very much. Let me see where we go here. There it is. Yeah, thank you very much. And then we have, of course, Duran Iron Knuckles with the 50 gifted membership. I guess that's instant Pillarman. Here we go, chat. Lower your volume or raise your volume, whatever you prefer. And loud clip incoming. Loud clip incoming. In 5. Pillarman in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ay, 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 ay. Oh, yes, best chat. Thank you much, everyone. Very much appreciated. Very much appreciated. Very generous, everyone. Thank you very much. All right, going to add these in. Going to add the 2 very generous people in the chat, Lady Fastslot and Chronic Iron Knuckles, I think that's what your name is. Durnan Iron Knuckles into the sponsors of today and tomorrow, of course. I think the you two will be the sponsor of tomorrow as well for Weeb Day. Fantastic.
This key element was missing in both Star Wars and the Avatar sequels. Aang was a legend for mastering airbending by the age of 12, but Korra somehow already knew 3 of the 4 elements before she would have even known how to read. Similarly, it took Luke a great amount of effort to use the Force to grab his lightsaber after he had learned from the great Jedi Masters Yoda and Obi-Wan. Yet somehow, without any training, Rey magically knew how to use the Force to not only grab a lightsaber, but also to steal it from the hands of another trained Force user, who had studied the Jedi arts his entire life. Let's listen to what Mark Hamill had to say about this fundamental change.
I'll tell you where I thought I came in the forest, when the lightsaber was
I like this part where he talks about how he thought the movie was going to go, because Mark Hamill, regardless of his politics or whatever, but he knows what the story should have been like, right? For any fan of Star Wars, because it's very clear that no matter what, Mark Hamill did like playing Luke Skywalker. Like, he did enjoy this role, and so he respects the role, he respects the character, he probably respects George Lucas as well. And he knows what fans would have wanted. They would want like Luke Skywalker to come in like a badass and like start wrecking shop of the bad guys, right from the get-go, and then have a cool introduction before taking Rey under his wing to train her. But they didn't. It was as Chris Gore said, it was a narrative malpractice.
It was cultural vandalism. It was narrative malpractice. It was a war crime, a Star War crime.
We need a Hollywood version of The Hague.
Yeah, fictional version of The Hague
for the narrative. All these narrative war crimes have been predicted.
we can have a judge in cosplay hammering a gavel. Death of the author.
No. You know what's better? I mean, you've seen. I'm pretty sure you've seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, of course. Oh yeah, castration.
Double castration.
And he hits he's cracking nuts, right?
Yeah, he is. I think so. Yeah, I think so.
And it's Christina Ricci.
Which if I remember correctly, I think Johnny Depp thought that was creepy because she's supposed to be like this little girl in that one, and he just had a movie with her where they were like husband and wife or something like
that. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. That was the manic panic or whatever, the Pixie Girl era, because it was her and Winona Ryder were like the two like precocious younger girls, Age of Innocence. Martin Scorsese used Winona Ryder. Like it was those two. They were dominating Hollywood at the time. So of course they put her in everything.
Yeah, and she is pretty good at her role. I mean, what's really funny is that after that they had Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci be love interests again in Sleepy Hollow.
Yep.
Which I thought was kind of interesting. That's interesting. That's an odd choice. Johnny Depp goes through so much. It's like, this is kind of weird. Why am I yelling at my co-star about falling in love with this character played by Christina Ricci and then going off to be her love interest in this other movie?
That's what acting is, man.
That must be rough. Like, oh man, that would mess with me a little bit. Like,
there was this whole era of like people talking trash because there were too many actors that were coming out trying to use their fame for activism and stuff, and I think people have kind of gotten bored of that. But if you just look at the job, being an actor is really tough because you have to be in character no matter what you're doing that day, and it's like that. Sometimes you shoot out of order, so one moment you have to be crying and exhausted, and then the next scene you have to be it's the next morning. And that's crazy to actors that you can have to do that stuff. So I give a lot of respect to them to be able to just do that, Yeah,
and also like I'd kind of give them more leeway now. Let's like really, really like a dick about it, because if they're just out there trying to they have a sound bite or two, I know some of these reporters set them up for that. Like those ambush you and like, hey, what do you think about MAGA hating your movie? And they'll just have to give like a Hollywood standard answer, but they clearly don't want to talk about it.
What you have to do is you have to remember that in a lot of interview cases, and obviously it's one way on the red carpet or whatever, right off the cuff, and they're like, so what do you think about the genocide going on in West? And they're like, oh, that's terrible. You know what I mean? There's that kind of thing. But also in general,
Sri Lanka, huh, honey?
Yeah, the genocide in Sri Lanka. Oh, aren't they killing like tons of Israelis out there? Anyway,
Yeah.
but
That's exactly how they talk about it too. Like, aren't they like, I don't know, killing a bunch of people over there?
that's terrible. We got to stop whatever's going on. Anyway, but the thing is that whenever you're watching a lot of these interviews, you have to remember that a lot of the time people are not just sitting there telling stories. They're not just doing that. There's a lot of the time where they'll just mute out the person that's directing the project asking questions. And sometimes you can see it. Like if somebody's answering a question, they'll be saying, "Yeah, we did it," and it's because they were just asked something like that. So there's still direction in documentaries where someone's asking questions in a specific order, or they're looking for specific answers, and then they also have the power of editorial. So you don't know what they didn't say or what they did say because it might be on the cutting room floor and not in the project. It's the director that controls the surroundings of it. You know, the person answering is just doing half of the work. And I think that that's really interesting. Keep that in mind when you're watching interviews, that sometimes the question is forgotten and you only get the answer.
Exactly. So I saw that happening, and all these actors taking flack for all these like sound bites, but they don't have the question in there, right? They don't have the question. You're right. They don't have the question in there when they print it out. They just have the whatever they say. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of when I started I started rethinking these things and started giving them more of a leeway, because it's not really their fault. I mean, what do you, even if they have a weird answer, it's like, what can you actually do? Or you could be like, yeah, Trump's awesome, or I don't care. It's like, in Hollywood, I'm pretty sure, at least on that level of Hollywood, you have to be like anti-MAGA, anti-Trump. You have to be anti-Republican, or else you might not have work the next day, right? So you have to at least, because you can't even be neutral. You can't even say, I don't really want to talk about it. You have to be like, oh yeah, I hate all these guys. I just fuck them all, whatever. It's like, I want to keep my job, thank you.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the big question: is what do you have to be to just be yourself? And I think that that's really messed up, that we have this expectation that you have to give the party line on everything when you're not even a member of the party. Like, who knows? And even if they were being belligerent, I don't know why they can't have that opinion either. It's because there's this disconnect between being yourself and playing somebody else.
Yeah, so I just like I give them a lot more leeway now. And I kind of go back to just harping on the writers, who are the guys who really are the activists, I think. Like they're the ones putting in their politics and the stories and the narratives and things. And
I think it's the producers.
The producer, like whoever's in
and
charge
the writers, yeah.
You're right, because I have seen some writers who just want to write a thing, and then it's like the producers or the people who are above them, like, oh, you got to have like a black character in here and a gay character.
Yeah.
And at some point the writers are like, okay, fine. What does it really matter? Like, because to them, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really change the story that much. And for the most part, they just want to get that story done and get that money, right? It's like all those producers are waving millions of dollars in their face. Like, how about nice story you got here? How about we add a black character and a gay character?
Would be a shame if I made her a lesbian, wouldn't it?
Would be a shame if you said no and I took away this $10 million check, wouldn't it? So, and it doesn't seem that bad because some of the changes they make aren't really, in the writer's eyes, aren't really changing or affecting the narrative much. But it inevitably will be. It inevitably will, because they'll take that and run with it.
But by the way, I'm sorry if I'm echoing a little bit right now. I'm gonna switch over to my computer right now. I just needed to do something.
No problem at all. We'll check it out with this video.
This and flies off. I said, "Oh, what a great entrance!" Ah!
By the way, producers are the last. Also crossed the threshold and passed our goal, so we will be getting more smiling friends. Absolutely.
Can you repeat that? Because I didn't hear. I was underwater for that. I didn't hear you say anything.
All right, hold on. Oh, there we go. Okay, hopefully it's better now. So our producers of today are Vlad the Shrike, Symbiote, SF Symbiote, Lady Fastslot, and Durden Iron Knuckles 1617. And we not only that, we have also crossed the threshold past our goal. So there will be more smiling friends this weekend. Also, Lady Fastlight and Durin Iron Knuckles will be the producers of tomorrow as well for Weeb Day. Weeb Day. So yeah, definitely more Smiling Friends. And then once we get an anime started, I'll find one today, and then we could maybe do one on Friday, and then Saturday we'll have Smiling Friends, and then on Sunday we'll have another anime stream. See how that goes. All right, chat.
Ray caught it? She hasn't even been to Dagobah for training.
Yeah, you tell him, Mark Hamill. Get him. See, Mark Hamill instinctively knows how the story should have gone, to the point where Jizzy's like, shut up. Stop it. You're making all the wokies cry. All right.
What's the deal? I know. Everyone said.
This is one reason why I like The Princess Bride, because not only is it a really good story, but one of my favorite moments in the movie is the kid going, "You're telling the wait a minute, you're telling the story wrong, Grandpa." Remember when what's his name? Wesley gets killed, and Wesley guy dies at that machine or whatever, and then the grandson is like, no, wait a minute. You're telling like what that Wesley's dead? Then who kills Humperdinck? He's like, well, no one kills Humperdinck. Humperdinck lives. Like, no, that can't be right. I can't have the bad guy win, right? That's kind of how it goes. Like, just hold on 1 second here. There we go. Welcome back, Glib with big hat.
Yes, I have my big hat now, and my audio should be better.
But yeah, now, you sound way better too. But yeah, we're watching more Smiling Friends, Glib, on the weekend. If you'd like to join me for that.
Yeah, I heard you say that. Yep.
But yeah, so when I was saying one of my favorite parts of The Princess Bride is when Wesley gets killed, and then at the machine, and then the grandson's like, "Wait a minute, Grandpa, you're telling the story wrong." Because even the grandson like just instinctively knows that this is nonsense. It's no way the hero's dead and that the bad guy is going to win. No, hell no.
No, I'm vetoing that. I am the child here. Tell the story the way I want to, Granddad.
Tell the story right, Grandpa.
Come on, Grandpa.
All right. Get together, Columbo. And see, let's say how about Fate Strange Fake? First season is over. If it's not on Crunchyroll, maybe. I was going to go with Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, but apparently it's on Crunchyroll, so can't do that. Because Crunchyroll or dicks, no matter how much commentary I've added to each episode, they gave me 2 strikes so far on my channel over there on Twitch.
Have you tried it on Kick?
I'm setting up Kick. I do have a Kick account. I'm going to set it up soon. But yeah, that'd be a pretty good backup to start off with. Can you do StreamYards with Kick? I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. I don't know about that. But also, I think that you might be able to do stuff on Gumroad because it has a manual. So certain places only have manual reporting, so they'd have to go out of their way. The least that you could do is make their stupid intern take his time to go and do
it. I did set up a Substack, which I can put videos on and stuff. I don't think I could stream there, but I can put videos on it. Let's see.
You didn't finish your training either, so you have no room to talk.
No, but you did train. You did train. You kind of walk it back like, oh well, But no, we know what he's really frustrated at. All right, we know what his real thing is. There we go. And so he's trying to soften it, but no. Ray didn't have any training at all. Luke had training. He just didn't finish it, technically speaking, but he did. He finished it with Yoda.
I was a Jedi school dropout, but I had to get back to my friends. That was my excuse.
You had to get back to your friends, and then you got beaten up, and then you went back to training.
Look, what does Luke know? Can he feel that Han Solo's in danger? All those things. See, I said, even if you don't plan to tell the audience, I have to know for myself. I made up a whole backstory of what happened between getting my medal, and yes, I agree, the Wookiee should have gotten one too. But
wait, no, he shouldn't have. He's a Wookiee. Don't get medals.
But you're right. I said, because if you don't,
why is it? Why would obsessed with that? Why should? What did he do? He was in the ship. What did Chewie do exactly? He followed your lead. Luke Skywalker and Han did all the cool stuff. What did Chewie do?
Tell the audience it's not about me anymore. It's really not my story. It's the story of Rey and Finn and Poe and all.
Yeah, trying to walk it back. But no. The reason why he's saying this is because he was told this. Like, it's not your because he said this later on, where he tried to make some suggestions or whatever, and he was told this is not your story. was the most dickish thing I could ever think of. And it shows you how they feel about this, where it's like it's not your grandpa's story anymore. Okay, it's a new generation story. But that's kind of the most cop out thing I've ever heard, because Star Wars is good for any generation. Like that's what the power of story is. And check it off. Robert Bly talks about this in Iron John, that the old stories are some of the best stories to go to because they are still talked about thousands of years later, which means they've gone through ridicule and exploration and analysis and have survived the prejudices of men and women, the different traditions of these, and have maintained their value throughout the millennia. And so this, because it's an older story, does not mean it has lost value. So this new Star Wars for new generation can be the same Star Wars that we all grew up with. We don't need a new Star Wars for new generation. That is stupid. It's really stupid. It's just an excuse to just copy the old one, so you don't have to do that much work on the new one.
All of them, which is the way it should be. But you'll find out.
By the way, Joseph Campbell talks about that too. So it's not just Robert Bly. They both talk about that. How the older stories teach us valuable things, which is why they maintained value and relevance over thousands of years. Heck, Neil Gaiman talks about this in one speech. I forgot which one it was. Talks about how the mountains and everything, they're old, but they still give us wonder. I think it was mountains. Like how old is Mount Everest? People still want to climb that thousands of years later. That's what a good story is like.
I don't think anyone will ever say that's exactly what I wanted.
Luke Skywalker was essentially stripped and flogged before the fandom. His total humiliation wasn't fully visible till The Last Jedi, and some fans foolishly believed that The Force Awakens was good, but they failed to notice what Mark Hamill had keenly observed. Luke and the Skywalker family were being systematically erased from Star Wars. Luke and Aang weren't interesting characters simply for being prodigies, but for their weaknesses and their lack of skills. Star Wars and Avatar: The Last Airbender weren't just stories about fighting and conflict, but largely about the growth and maturation of their protagonists. Most people look at The Lord of the Rings as a standalone work, but it was actually a sequel to The Hobbit. And J.R. Tolkien wasn't originally planning on writing The Lord of the Rings either. In the same way that Bilbo had accidentally stumbled on the Ring of Power, J.R. Tolkien had accidentally stumbled upon The Lord of the Rings. You see, after the moderate success of The Hobbit.
Yeah, so The Hobbit was one he clearly wanted to write. He really liked The Hobbit. The Hobbit's good. I've read The Hobbit twice now. No, I think I would read The Hobbit at least once for school, and then I read The Hobbit on my own. I think at least read it twice. It's good. I like The Hobbit quite a bit. It's a lot of fun. And in fact, if you're playing D&D with your friends for the first time, like copy The Hobbit, and I think you have a pretty fun time. But there was like a little issue that happened because there are various different variations of The Hobbit, and the reason for that is, I think according to legend, Glib. Mm-hmm. What I've heard is that the conversation between Bilbo and Gollum was different. I think they actually become friends or whatever, like they end on friendly terms. But because he needed to have that ring be the ring of power later on, that he rewrote that scene so that it ends up with "I hate us the hobbits, Baggins," that sort of thing.
That makes sense.
So he steals the ring, and then it becomes the ring of power later on for Lord of the Rings. But there's a like this that came out later. The original version was different, and so Tolkien was like, "Oh yeah, here's the real version of it." Bilbo just wanted to keep it light, but here's the real version of what really happened over the course of The Hobbit, and that's kind of how they explain why the scene was so different.
His editor kept insisting that he write a sequel. J.R.R. Tolkien didn't really want to write a sequel at first, but he quickly realized he had stumbled on something great. In this book, The Lord of the Rings ended up changing the world forever. So I'm not here to say that all sequels are bad, as The Lord of the Rings, in a sense, is a perfect example of what to do with the sequel. But when we look at The Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien had actually attempted to make a sequel of that. This was called The New Shadow. He quickly realized that it would destroy the legacies of his characters.
Hold on. Roll that back. What the hell did he realize?
When we look at The Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien had actually attempted to make a sequel of that. This was called The New Shadow. He quickly realized that it would destroy the legacies of his characters.
Huh. Why? Why would that be the case? Let's find out. I like how this is how this is how you know J.R. Tolkien was smart, because like, oh, I can't write this. It's going to show the legacy of my characters and not be dumb
and destroy the integrity of his great work.
Yeah, especially if it was about like everything's destroyed. You know, the men are turning evil and everything. Now, I can see why he might be motivated to write something like that, but it should be its own separate story, not like a sequel to Lord of the Rings, because that would just diminish the work. And J.R. Tolkien was smart enough to know that. Unfortunately, today a lot of writers in Hollywood are not. As Bill Maher said, we had a higher demand for smart people than we actually had smart people, and now we're here. Our demand for smart people far outreached the supply of smart people, so we started elevating dumb people to the role of
I don't even
think traditionally held by smart people.
I don't think that's what it is. I think that it's like the only way to crush the smart people is to demoralize them. So you make everything that they enjoy worse, and then they don't feel like they have any power. I think it's all calculated because
that is what's been happening. Remember that whole thing from Red Letter Media? Like, how does it feel to see all your favorite franchises go down in flames?
Feels great.
Feels great.
Feels great, Rich.
Feels great.
That's right, Jay. I mean, like, that's the reason why we have all these retarded judges or whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh,
that just like have all these stupid decisions that they're making. It's like, oh, that's a demoralization thing. Because when you look at, I think, I'm pretty sure it's a Solzhenitsyn quote or whatever his name is. I'm pretty sure he said that he figured out that the purpose of communist judging and that kind of thing, it was not for justice, it was to demoralize you. So when you realize that it's not, they're not doing the right thing, they're not trying to do justice, or they're not doing, they're not trying to console the victim or anything like that, they're trying to embarrass and make you feel bad, then you can start to see like, oh, that's why they give all these lenient sentences, that's why they do this and that, and that's why they're doing this to your favorite media. It's all the same. It's all, it's like the Culture Revolution in China. That's what that is. It's a struggle session, and it's what they called like re-education. That's what we're going through. They're trying to warp everything and make it worse, and that's the reason why Tolkien said that evil can't create; it can only twist or corrupt.
It can only corrupt the forces they've made.
They were once men.
His quote is way more complicated, but people have trimmed it down to basically that quote. It's kind of like how people say, "Luke, I am your father," when he just says, "No, I am your father," because the switching up of Luke instead of no makes it like where that guy came from. Like, oh, Luke, I am your father. Oh, that's Darth Vader. That makes Darth Vader. So this is where the quotes kind of change, because it out of context we can instantly know where it came from, right? So let's see here. Like, like greed is good, right? That quote from Wall Street, greed is good. The full quote is greed, for lack of a better term or lack of a better word, is good. Like, you don't need that middle part. You just need greed is good. That was the main sentiment of the phrase. And you can do that too in quotes. Like even in academia, you can do that. It's just you have to put like 3 little dots there to note that you skipped something. So if someone wants to look at the quote and go back, like, okay, there's something cut here, but you can just get it, because some people, have their full quote is not necessarily as succinct and focused as the sentiment of what they're saying is. So you if you want to like highlight what they're actually saying, then you want to cut out the fluff, and some quotes do have fluff in it. Let's see here. Alex said this 10 cheers is strange fake. But a normal guy fought against the corrupt Hercules and managed to hit him with a Hydra venom. That's pretty good. Hercules congratulated him on his bravery and called him a hero. Then said it was sad the venom no longer worked on him. Too bad it doesn't work on you anymore. Epic.
Tolkien had the prudence to quickly discard the sequel, A New Shadow. Hollywood studio executives seem to lack this foresight. One of the most soul-crushing aspects of both the Star Wars and Avatar series was how both Aang and Han were incapable fathers. Aang previously valued all people in life, but for whatever reason, he ended up changing as an adult and displaying vast amounts of favoritism to his son Tenzin, causing strife and leaving his other children with trauma. Similarly, Han and Leia failed to raise a decent.
Well, it was written by core writers who hate their dads, so. So no wonder like they made Aang a bad father, they made Han a bad father, they made Luke a bad father. So it's all the same thing. They all when these characters are like young and hip and the heroes, they love them. But when they become dads, suddenly they hate him now. suddenly they become villains.
respectable
Well,
son.
because it's
and
again, the whole thing is that the world is evil or fallen to these people because dad is bad. And
Yeah.
dad is the patriarchy, and dad is the reason why everything is. And you know, I have this conversation with people. It's like, you know, if women controlled the world, there wouldn't be war, and there wouldn't be this, and it was like, and then you have to. There's no understanding of any of the time that it takes between the dawn of mankind and ordering man, and the idea that there are these distinct groups, because what you realize is that the feminine perspective on this, and I'm not saying that as a given, I'm saying that as the political apparatus, is that we don't need any of this stuff anymore. And that's the primary aspect of like progressivism or progressive ideology, is like, yeah, maybe at one point, even if they're willing to admit this, maybe at one point it was good for us to have arms and armory and soldiers and knights and whatever. But we're past that now. We're smarter than that now. We don't need this. We don't need this ism and that, right? We don't need this prejudice, and we don't need this judgment. And so they're willing to throw out everything that's the foundation of what keeps people separate, in terms of like, we need to put people in prison because these are bad people. We need to keep these foreigners out because they want to destroy and take over our country and control our lives and tyrannize us. They just all blame that on male thinking. They think it's a made-up thing that men do to the world, not a state of being that exists because of consciousness and the unconscious and all that stuff. So it's this really small-minded perspective, and that's the reason why the media that it's based on is really small-minded.
Oh yeah, it goes back to the Joseph Campbell talks about this. It's immaturity. They want to focus on, they're more selfish, more self-centered. Brady and Elvis talks about Elvis. Brady and Elvis. That's a weird imagery just went through my head. Brady and Elvis. It's like this. Tell me, baby, have you heard of the Beatles?
American Psycho.
It's Elvis, but instead of Patrick Bateman, it's Elvis. Oh man, that's pretty funny to me. Elvis, where'd you get that overnight bag? John Paul Gaultier. That'd be good stuff. But anyway, he talks about this too, where he's talking about how artists are being pushed today in the modern day to catering to an audience obsessed with their own identities and not even identities, but obsessed with validation. They have chosen identity. They have identity issues to begin with, which is what we talked about yesterday with the 90s and 2000s. Like, who am I without my job? Who am I without XYZ? And then, which evolved into everyone kind of obsessing over a weird identity. Like, I'm trans. Oh, I'm gay and bisexual and somehow also demisexual, and then also I have a headmate, and all this stuff. Like they add in new mental issues, like Thanos adds in a new power stone to his gauntlet. And then the artists, he's complaining about how artists are being pushed to validate these things as opposed to following their own artistic vision. I think he talks about how those old artists, like if Frankie, what's his name? Frankie, the singer. What's his name? He's
who?
He's the Frankie, not Muniz. That different guy. How could I remember? I can't remember this. He's really good. He's sung My Way. Maybe Frankie Valli. No, not Frankie Valli, but he sang My Way. Frank Sinatra.
Oh, well, I don't know why you said Frankie. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Because I was introduced to Frank Sinatra because but through Looney Tunes. I didn't know who Frank Sinatra was when I was a kid.
Frankie Davis Jr. over here.
So everyone in Looney Tunes kept calling him Frankie, and he just kind of brought out this skinny dude singing. And so it's Frankie. It's like that's what came to my mind, like the Looney Tunes saying, "Oh, Frankie," but it's Frank Sinatra. But thing is, he talked about how if Frank Sinatra was still around, would he be singing? First of all, would he still be allowed to have a career? Because all the in this age of social media, all these guys behind the scenes are doing crazy things. But second of all, if they were allowed to have a career still, would they really be singing out of passion and artistic vision, or would they just be puppets singing and performing in order to validate the feelings of the modern audience? And it's probably that one. So I mean, I kind of thought about this yesterday with when somebody brought up the idea was when someone reminded me of the voice actors from Avatar: The Airbender and how we couldn't have that because like the guy that voiced Aang was white. I think most of them were white, but they can't do that today because you have to match the ethnicity of your character.
Oh yeah, the Pro ZD thing. That was the dumbest
Yeah,
shit in the world. That was so stupid. Like that takes
it's
out
retarded.
the whole point of being an actor is that you play other people. And what you know what it is though is it's really just a scam to get hired. That's really
It
all
really
that it
is.
is. It's like
It,
you know, oh, you need a certain amount of DEI in your thing. Otherwise, you know, if it doesn't match, it's just a way to get your friends to
get jobs.
yeah, to get it's a job thing.
And give you an excuse. I think that, for example, did you know that Toph, the blind Asian girl, they got a blind Asian girl to voice her. I
Okay.
double checked that, so that's where we are now. But it kind of led me to the idea, or thinking of the idea that how many masterpieces or great works of art have we lost because of wokeness? Like how many masterpieces and great works of passion were never made because they didn't fit the woke agenda. Like they refused, or it was too white or something like that. How many great people, how many great actors and voice actors did we lose because you couldn't get that you're passed over because you're white, so they couldn't have like non-white voice actors in your place. Like how many people did we lose? How many greats never were? Let's see. Megathon, thanks for the $5 super chat. Appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. Let me see here. There we go. It's the unlimited power. Supreme Chancellor Chef Palpatine. That was one of his best quotes. Absolutely. All right. Let's see here, chat. Then trying to be other 10 cheers says Luke is right. Star Wars is Anakin's story. It's why before Disney bought Star Wars, all the new content took place before or during the Empire. Also, don't disrespect my man Chewie. He did his fiction fighting.
Would you? Sorry, you're underwater for that.
Oh, let me see here. 1 second. All right, hopefully it's better now.
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. Coming to you guys says, yeah, Lucas writes Star Wars Anakin story. It's why before Disney bought Anakin, Disney bought Star Wars. All the new content took place before or during the Empire. Also, don't disrespect my man Chewie. He did his fair share of fighting. Let's see. It's Anakin's and Luke's story. And at the end of it all, they copped out by saying, "Oh, that's a Skywalker saga." Okay. Wolfsbane, 10 cheers. Thank you much. I could even argue that Aang wasn't even a bad dad. He loved his kids equally, but only Tenzin was the one that inherited airbending, so he had to impart all of his knowledge before he died from short lifespan. Bumi is probably his favorite son because he has the personality of his best and oldest friend, probably. But yeah, he had to teach airbending to his progeny because that's important. And see your chat. All right, we got everything going on. Fantastic. Am I underwater again?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Their marriage ended in a bitter divorce. In both cases, these once great heroes who could save the world were now incapable of saving their families. This is a cynical, disappointing narrative Tolkien had the prudence to throw in the fire, and it strips the original heroes of their ultimate victory. Tolkien chose to give us a gift of ambiguity. What other beloved movie, book, or show should have ended? Left the parcel unopened to preserve its hopeful legacy? Let me know in the comment section, and thank you for watching my video.
Oh yeah, so there we go, chat. So Tolkien was able to recognize that having a sequel to his great work that's about good versus evil and had an uplifting ending, and then making a sequel that kind of destroyed all that was a bad idea. It turns out. And if he did want to write a story like that, it should be more or less a standalone work apart from his universe, so that it wouldn't destroy what came before. Let's see. Yeah, we finished video on stream. Like, whoa. All right, but here we go. Here's another one, another video by Manga Common, who how to ruin your protagonist. Let's check this out. I think we got these are modern Hollywood secrets that they hold very dear. They love to employ.
There's not really any of those left, is there?
Let's see. Jay Smart, thanks for the $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's see. And that question on greatness applies to different races too. How many folks got passed over because they picked on advocate instead of a creator? Yeah, they picked a lots probably. Heck, I still remember a writer. There was a girl that wrote poetry online, and so she had a small following, I guess. And she got hired by Marvel, not because of her poetry or her writing ability, but because she looked like Riri Williams. She was like, thin black girl with the Riri Williams haircut. And so because of her haircut, she was hired by Marvel because her fans were like advocating, and they made like a promotion. They made like a campaign to like get her hired by Marvel to write Riri Williams, and it worked. It happened. I think she still writes for Marvel, in fact. But that was the basis. Like, because she looked like Riri Williams, she had the same haircut, and she wrote poetry or something. And boom, hired at Marvel. This is pure activism.
So for a long time, we often talk villains on this channel, and that's not going to change for this year. Trust me on that, folks. But I think
Last Generation says, I like how the Lord of the Rings pretty much destroyed the Hobbit. And the ending of the Hobbit, the one ring of power, ends up in the place where it cannot corrupt anything, where it will remain forgotten. Let's see. I mean, like hey man, it destroyed the Hobbit, and the ending of the Hobbit, the one ring of power. You mean the Shire, or you mean how the prequel part of Lord of the Rings had it end up in the hands of Gollum, that sort of thing. One of those two. I'm not sure if it destroyed the Hobbit. It was the ring was already in the Hobbit, I think.
talk about the heroes of stories too. Now, I've talked about terrible protagonists before on the channel, and while this will be a branch off of that video, I think it's better to really look into why some of the characters can and will be quote unquote ruined. Obviously, I'm only speaking for myself, so it's an opinion piece, but I think we take a little time and really dive into the issues with protagonists that can get ruined. Really talk about some of the more common ways a character can be ruined and focused on the main protagonist for the most part. I'm Manga Common, and let's begin. Spoilers for the following series. It's a given that when you really think about characters, especially protagonists, you need to understand a few things about them.
I got a Planner Tale.
I refuse to.
I actually bought it. I heard it was like I just want to explore it. But here's the thing that reminded me of Undertale recently. It's the Pope came out and blessed Pokemon or something like that. I'm like, where are we? What the hell is happening? The Pope is like blessing Pokemon. Oh man, it's like what? So I was like, any word on Undertale? Because remember Matt Pat sent him a copy of Undertale? I mean, it was a different Pope. Yep. But like he said the Pope Undertale. I'm pretty sure he has the same like records or something. All right, Pope, you're blessing Pokemon. All right, when are you gonna get down to your review? When's the Pope's review of Undertale coming out?
The Pope could probably get a lot of more fans. You know what I mean? If we're doing some lay material like that.
Like I want to see like when the Pope like live stream his review of Undertale, it'd be kind of funny. It's kind of the same way I
am Jesus Christ.
It's kind of the same thing, like with the Vitali story, where like it was Vitali, like he went on a rampage, I think in the Philippines, and then the Philippine president came out and like EFAP'd his Vitali stream.
Yep.
And I was like, what if Trump did that? It'd be kind of funny. Like, what if Trump and EFAP'd all these deranged lunatics protesting?
Trump, what's your favorite video game, Trump? It's like, I love playing Crusader Kings.
Yeah.
The incest mechanics are too powerful. I don't like it.
That'd be so basic. He plays Crusader Kings 3. That'd be awesome. But I was like, what the Popes are like live streaming his reviews of modern day video games are considered demonic. Like, is it demonic? Yes or no? What do you think of the? What do you vote now, chat? What do you think? Is this demonic? Like that's his whole gimmick. Is like, is this thing demonic? He starts reviewing Harry Potter and stuff. Let's see. Alexander the Tinshers. I think the blessing happened back when the parents were calling Pokemon satanic. I think he recently did it, right? I thought he recently did it. Like he recently blessed it. Because his parents were like, oh yeah, Pokemon is satanic or something like that. Because everything's satanic back then. But yeah, he's like, oh, it's another satanic. It is a good Pokemon is so good. Wahoo! I assume is what he said.
Their roles, their actions, and most importantly, their personalities. Especially when there's an already established characterization.
Yeah, the series could be called Vatican Reacts. Is it demonic?
protagonist. And as such, let's talk about Dante. No, not that
No, the good Dante. The good Dante.
one. Not Dante. Not today. We're talking about...
That's just a piece of crap.
This is probably
Yeah, the correct Dante.
an example that's a lot older than some of my audience, which certainly puts me in the right mood for the best time of my life. But let's set the stage first. You're Capcom. It's the year 1999. With the looming threat of the Y2K bug over the horizon and people clamoring over the success of Resident Evil 2, you get the big man, Hideki Kamiya, to be the director for an early version of Resident Evil 4. Too bad you made a protagonist too cool to fight zombies, and you put a white wig on him, but you managed to make something so amazing that it created its own IP. Am I going too fast for you?
Whoa, slow down.
And you managed to create probably one of the coolest protagonists in gaming, Dante, a demon slayer with a cool attitude and a mouth to boot.
Are you the human, the son of Sparta who challenges the dark?
The Devil May Cry games are a lot of fun. I even like the anime, the old one. I haven't seen the new one yet, but the old one. It was a lot of fun. The Devil May Cry anime when they made a long time ago was a lot of fun because it had a lot of this references. So if you are a fan of Devil May Cry, there's some. It has something for you. But the games are pretty fun. I played most of the games. Most of them.
Block off, Featherface.
Okay, the guy's cheesier than a mozzarella stick on a cheese pizza.
Yeah, that's why I like him.
That is your style a little bit there.
He's awesome. I love that his character, especially in the third one. He's just peak Dante characterization. Peak.
And the voice acting at times.
I should have been the one to tell you.
Oh, it's he's kind of on the same level as Titus, but I like it. I like Titus's fake laugh. It's fantastic. Ha 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 ha! That was a good scene. All right, he actually played the game. That was a pretty good scene because it was about Yuna being sad, and then Titus going in there and trying to make her happy. But okay, she's like, I can't smile, I can't laugh right now. She's like, well then fake it. So that's not a real laugh he's doing. It's a fake laugh. Like it's like fake it till you make it sort of scenario. And so they both start laughing like that together, and she does start to feel better. So it's a good scene in context. All right. I guess it's like that. I take a potato chip and eat it.
Yeah.
Like outside of context, that sounds dumb, right?
I just figure that Japanese entertainment in general has this dual quality where it's like sometimes it's serious and then other times it's going to be this sort of off the wall stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know what to make of it because I haven't been to Japan. You know what I mean? I don't know what it's like to be Japanese. I don't know what true Japanese culture is like. So I don't know where that comes from. But I've always been curious about that. I've always been curious why there's no it seems like the only stuff that is straight serious is traditional, and then everything that is modern in Japan is kind of goofy. You know,
yeah.
And maybe it's the nuclear bomb. I don't know, but there's some sort of distinct line between like anime Japan and Edo period Japan, where they're going to cut your head off. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, but that's what I kind of like about some of the works where it can go like it can make a story about how a guy can make balloons. His powers to make balloons, and then make it the most dramatic thing since Shakespeare.
Yeah, it goes either way. It's like here's a character that's out for vengeance because of something that was done wrong. His entire family. But
he also likes noodles or something.
Yeah. But he's also obsessed with noodles. Like, right? And he's like, oh my, I love the noodle. Like there's always stuff like that, and I don't really understand where that comes from, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know where it comes from. It's definitely not an American. It's definitely a Japanese thing, but I like it.
Like you were talking about Samurai Champloo earlier, and there's
absolutely.
one scene with the baseball, and that's the goofy stuff. But then at the same time, and the graffiti stuff.
Oh, yeah, the graffiti was a good episode, man. It's a good episode.
But then on the other hand, you have the one where he's like not ready to die, and he sees all his ancestors, and like the ancestral stuff.
It's so good. It's so good.
That's my favorite sequence. That Iku Oboseki.
When they start singing that song, and he's just like, he's like, no, because you can tell that's the moment where you can like you're reminded that Mugen has faced that scenario. Like he's been near death so many times, and they've never taken him. And then we find out that Gene is serious, but he's also kind of goofy. But then we learn that he was ordered to be killed by his own master in Shirimaria, and he had to kill his master. So we learned that he killed his own master, but it kind of feels like did Gene do it out of like wanting more or out of ambition or something like that? That seems pretty evil, and all of his classmates are after him for that. But what later turns out that Shirimaria was tasked to kill Jean because of the God Hand, I think. And man, it's Samurai Champloo is so good. It's right up my alley. It's a really good mix of goofy nonsense and serious drama. Really cool stuff. Let's see. As of Generation says, the reason why I have this theory is if you think of the world that Tolkien created by The Hobbit, that Lord of the Rings, Bilbo dies, the ring most likely is buried with him and is just forgotten. Oh, that's true. Yeah, he would have died.
I just think that there's something about it that makes it so that that's not possible. I think that there's the kind of idea of the ring being unfinished business and Sauron isn't dead is sort of what they're going for. Like you haven't finished the mission. And until you have, the ring has a will of its own and this kind of like binding nature to it that's going to make it be found. Because, like, why did Smeagol find it? Well, it was a perfect person to find it. But why Smeagol? You know, it's those kinds of things.
I think that's why he gave the ring a will of its own. So
Yeah.
that this stuff can happen. So it's a strange
I always thought that the crazy interesting part of the conceit of Lord of the Rings was that most of the time, you know, you have King Arthur's sword, right? Like that's King Arthur pulls the sword, and that sword means that he's the king. And he's the son of Uther Pendragon, and that's all positive stuff. But in Lord of the Rings, he flips it by saying like, "Here's an evil artifact. This is a negative artifact." And there is a sword. There is a, you know, the sword of Numenor, the Anduril or whatever, the reforged blades of Narsil.
Anduril.
Yeah. That exists, but it's not as powerful as the rings. And I just thought that was a really good way of doing it. I think that should be done more, that there's like evil artifacts that have great power that have to be destroyed. I think that that's a really good storytelling technique, because most of the time it's the other way around. I think Harry Potter copied that. How there's like
I think so too.
The Horcruxes are basically like the rings.
I've been reading all of them. I finished the Half-Blood Prince, and the story of Harry Potter is pretty intriguing.
The thing is that it's like there's like 3 different phases, and there's good parts of all of them, and then there's bad parts of all of them. So like the first 3 books are like one set. I don't know if she was. I don't know. Maybe she was planning on doing one for each year of high school or whatever it is, because that's what made sense to me. But like the first 3 they're laying out all this mystical, magical stuff, and you're like, wow, this is really cool. I'm really enjoying this world that she's creating with all its quirkiness and all this kind of throwback stuff. But then immediately after that, you get 4, and 4 splits it down the middle, where it's like, oh, now the direction is going to be, we're going to be depressed and miserable. Like,
it starts getting dark, and you get to Goblet of Fire, which is that's kind of where Voldemort comes back. And Harry is like this. He goes through the like horrific trauma. Like, man, he's 14 going through all this. Like, damn, that's rough, man. That's rough, buddy. And that's kind of where you get. But you also get Mad-Eye Moody in that one. I really like Mad-Eye Moody, even though he's not really Mad-Eye Moody.
It's a good character, but the last 3 books I thought were the most interesting from a character study perspective, because it's like, okay, now he's going to be more like an adult. But people aren't accepting him as an adult yet, maybe. But
because at Half-Blood Prince, Harry is taking no shit anymore.
Yeah,
he's just done with the world. Like, my favorite part is when he goes in there and Draco Malfoy, he's going to Diagon Alley get his some robes, and Draco Malfoy and his mom are in there because because his dad and his mom's husband is in jail for being a Death Eater, and they get in a confrontation because Malfoy immediately starts dropping the M-bomb. Because he sees Hermione, so he immediately drops the M word with a hard D at the end, Mudblood, and then he goes in and they draw wands on each other, which is why I like the Wizarding World, because everyone's strapped at all times, very based.
Yeah,
and
it's true.
And then what's her name? Narcissa. I think her name is Narcissa.
Yeah, that's right.
Comes. And she threatens Harry, which, like, is typical thriller. You ever threaten my son again? It'll be the last thing you ever do. And usually that would work, but then Harry is like, she's taking no shit, so he's like, "Oh yeah, what are you gonna do about it, huh? They're gonna go run to your loser husband? Oh yeah, he's in jail."
That's right. Yeah, like my favorite when like the last time that I was going through them was the Order of the Phoenix one and the Half-Blood Prince, but it's one of those things where it's just so uneven, and I think that's just going to be like the permanent imprint that it left on me, because the first one has all this promise, the second one, and then when you get to the third one and they introduce time travel, you're going, I don't know about this, guys. I don't know what we're doing here anymore. I think we're losing the plot, and then it becomes a generic prophecy plot. you know, like the Phantom Menace or something like that, where he's destined to do this thing, and then and it kind of gets so stuck on Voldemort versus Harry. I didn't think that, like, because I know this sounds stupid, but I really wanted there to be one Harry Potter book where it wasn't about Voldemort. I thought that would have been really interesting, but
Like just about school or the conflicts
yeah,
and everything.
just like
a
about
normal year.
yeah, just like a normal year, and then they're just being people, and you just have the slice of lifestyle anime. You know, here's Draco, and he's being like this, but because you never really get that, you kind of what happens is the shadow of everything kind of clouds over the school and everything that's happening. So you can never just have Defense of the Dark Arts. But what that is it's this moving window of the rules have to keep moving with the drama, and the drama has to be driven by this ultimate framing. And I get that. I understand that. There's no real Lord of the Rings book where it's not about Sauron, and there's no, there's no book where it's James Bond and he's not fighting, he's not just going off on his own and doing something, which I think would be interesting. But
Right.
it's just different stakes, and
that's why a lot of anime have the beach episode.
yeah, well, yeah, right. Like that's the reason why I didn't. But it's in the inverse, because it's like, everybody wants, but do you really want it? Like the grass is greener kind of thing. Like I really didn't like a lot of season 3 of Avatar, where they're just doing like episodes that are about the firebenders and stuff, and it's just about their culture, but it doesn't really have any direction to it. Like they have the beach episode. That one was really good though, because it was about their personal characters, and it's kind of what I'm talking about. Like you learn more about Azula. But I just feel like there's this weird unevenness that happens when you're in later stages of a story and you're trying to come up with how you're going to get to it's like the 5 and 6 out of the 7. How do we get to the climax part? Because everybody knows that they're waiting for the climax, but then there's this interim period where we have to get there. And we have to go from the second act of a story, which is the dark part, to building back up to the climax part. So there's this convalescent part where everything seems kind of like they're healing and we're getting back to where we're supposed to be, but we're not there yet. And that's such a weird place to be in the story. I'm sure you can relate with the Half-Blood Prince stuff. Like it's all flashbacks.
Oh yeah,
like,
definitely. A lot of it is, yeah. What was it? Oh yeah. So I think that's where a lot of people kind of like have an issue, because the movies do this and the books do this, because we are introduced to the world of Harry Potter as this whimsical world of wizardry, and then it gets darker and darker and darker. It's like you couldn't have it where he fights Voldemort and it maintains the whimsical, like kid friendly sense. It has to get like this dark, which I can see why people might have an issue with that.
Like it'd be like, it's one of those things where it'd be interesting if he defeated Voldemort and thought he was gone forever, and then they were like, no, actually we didn't get him, but for that time period they thought it was normal, and then they flip back over. I think that would be interesting, but
somehow Voldemort returned.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's just this shadow over everything, though. It's like, okay, we can't enjoy the Triwizard Tournament. We can't enjoy going to the Quidditch World Cup, really, because there has to be some sort of Death Eater.
Because the way everything is introduced in the first place is that this is the stuff we're interested in. We want to see the cool wizarding world. We want to see like the Quidditch World Cup for people who like read the first 3 books, because the Quidditch World Cup takes place in the 4th one. Like we're more interested in the Quidditch World Cup than we are the Voldemort crap.
We've seen that.
Yeah, we've seen that. We want to see the Quidditch World Cup. We want to see the Ministry of Magic. We want to see how this is done, because that was like the really cool draw and interest of the Harry Potter world. Even in Hogwarts Legacy, like one of the big selling points, at least for me, was the world. Like it felt so immersive. You got to see all these little villages. Like the 2 biggest things I liked about Hogwarts Legacy was the world that it built and the combat, fighting all these dark wizards.
Because it's not it's original, quote unquote. It's not based on something that we've already. So there's this feeling
it's not standard fantasy setting 4,031,000.
In Oppenheimer, he's like, you can turn the stone over without fearing the snake that's underneath it, kind of thing. Like, I like the idea that you can go into the Harry Potter universe and still discover new stuff. Like, what's this like? What's that like? And that was interesting, as opposed to everything already being predefined. Like
every book, every book, like at least the first 8 books, I think, have like different ways of travel. Like, you have like the train, you have the flying car, you have the flute powder. Like port key. Like you could tell it's written by a woman. She just wants to travel.
That's so funny. Yeah, you can tell. I mean, that's another part of it that was actually really interesting to me, was that it was written by a woman, and it was about like an alternate version of it, but she still was rating a guy, and I thought that, I just thought that was really interesting. But I don't know. They never really, or she never really got deeper into the, like the world can't be that defined. And that's kind of the fatal flaw. It's not fatal really, but like the long-term flaw of Harry Potter is that every time she would introduce something and then introduce another thing, there was some part of your mind
questions
that was like,
like,
why is this like this?
Wanting to be like, this is cool, right? She's like, this is pretty cool, right?
Yes, and that's good enough. That's the other thing that I always have to like be okay with. I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? Rule of cool does win. You know, it is cool that they're in the Ministry of Mysteries or whatever, and like, she said that it was there, and then she presented it. So here we go. You know,
it's kind of why also that like Harry Potter never really feels like he earns that much. Like he doesn't go through trials. He kind of knows things after a while. The big one he did was his Patronus, where he spent like months learning how to cast a Patronus. But most of the time, it's just kind of like he's just really good at classes. So when he comes back with his OWLs and they're like mostly all good, like okay, I didn't know he was a good student. I just didn't.
Yeah, they didn't
really show you that well.
That's it. Like I think that's the big problem with Harry Potter is that he's written like Bella from Twilight or whatever. Like he's special automatically, but like when you really are trying to look for that, you're like, where is that in him? Like, what is he? He's good at Quidditch. Okay, he's good at sports, I guess.
Yeah, which is I think was based off of J.K. Rowling's previous boyfriend or something. Then he's good at sports, but it's what happens when it's written by a woman. The more if you read the Harry Potter books, she's focused way more on Harry Potter's emotions and his emotional development as opposed to his physical development. Like if it was written by a guy, it would all be all about him like getting more powerful as a wizard and learning new spells and stuff.
I honestly thought that most of the Harry Potter books ended up not being about him at all and about everybody else, which was probably a good choice. That's a very female writer's perspective to make this. Character like the
you want to step into you want to step into the shoes of Harry Potter and explore the world, and it is very much like what happens when a woman tends to write a main character. It's a pair of pants you want to step into as opposed to really a character himself.
Like it would, like I would, because I was reading it at the same age as what Harry Potter was, so I thought it was interesting that she introduces this the Weasley father, the patriarch, is really interested in Muggle technology, and then Harry's from the Muggle world. Like I thought that was going to be the primary conceit, was that he was like, oh, I'm new to magic. I'm like a newborn, but I'm an adult, so I don't know how any of this stuff works. And that was really, I like how she did that, but there's no relationship between him and Mr. Weasley or whatever that's based on that. Like where they're both like, he's like, hey, check it out, this is a toaster. You know what I mean? And then he's teaching him how that works. There's a little bit of that where he wants to become an Auror because he doesn't have the father figure. So there's a lot of that stuff that could and is slightly there, but I also feel like it didn't really go because it's not written from a male perspective, Yeah. So there's that aspect. And I also thought that it was kind of weak that she makes it so that it's like Ron and Hermione are the thing, and I never saw that. I was like, why wouldn't it be Harry and her? It doesn't make any sense. Like they have more in common. They
have way more in common.
So I didn't like a lot of the specific choices that I don't like are wrapped in a bunch of things that I do like, and so it's fine. It works.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as being inside Frodo's perspective and knowing so much about like how his internal world works and what a Baggins is and all that. Like that's a big difference between the two writing styles.
Let's see. Nathan Zosa Ball says, I agree about the Titus fake laugh scene, but your memories reverse. It's Yuna was the one noticing Titus was feeling down. That makes sense. It's been like 15 years since I played it.
Damn.
So it's been a while or more. It's been a while. But
wow.
I just remember that being the scene being like it's about one of them being sad and the other one saying, hey, let me make you happy or whatever, and it's fake laugh. It ends to do with like them both fake laughing and then feeling better because of how ridiculous it is. It's a Dr. E Ryan the Forward says, you are defending the laugh scene from FF10. Spoonie wants to know where you live. Oh, does he hate that scene? I guess. Let's see. Fiona says Marcel was his name before it was reforged into Anduil. Okay, 10 cheers. Appreciate it. I knew I can't remember the actual sword's name, but it has two, which makes sense. The Alexander 10 cheers. The Fate series, the Church and mages have collected almost all good and evil objects and locked them away, which is why so many mages have something to summon their servants. You just have to put in a request for it, but to most of the servants' actual weapons no longer I guess, do stuff.
I wanted to make I had some sort of thing that I was cooking up that was going to be kind of like Avatar and Lord of the Rings mixed together, and I had an elemental mage in it, but to be able to do the magic, you had to know the science behind it, which I thought would be a way of making like a hard science magic crossover. So like if you want to summon fire, you have to know how the chemistry works, and then you can do it in your mind. Like it's like, okay, I want to shoot a fireball. That means that I need to imagine in my head the chemical reaction and know it. So that way it like kind of gatekeeps it. So somebody who's a really, really powerful wizard is somebody who spent a lot of time studying. And I thought that would be like an interesting way to make a nerd thing. And then it would also make it so that you would have like particularities. Like some people would be really good with one type of magic, but not another type, because that was their fixation. Like they studied so much about that stuff. Because I love Avatar, but I always felt like the mechanism of being able to do the bending stuff wasn't applied wide enough. I just kept thinking like, why are there not more firebender cooks throughout the kingdoms? Right? Like, why wouldn't you hire that? Or like an earthbender, wouldn't that person be a great farmer? Like, wouldn't you want to hire them to come and build for you?
Should be, yeah.
And so like, I just thought like, okay, if they have that's what the Korra stuff bothered me, because I thought that they would extrapolate more like that. Like after the Avatar brought balance to all these different kingdoms, you would think that the kingdoms would then kind of mix up a little bit. So that if somebody was like a fisher, they would probably be from the water tribe and the water, and then they'd be at an earth market or whatever, that kind of thing. So I thought it'd be more interesting to lean more deeper into that. But they I don't feel like they ever did. They just were like, here, lightning bending is now how they do make electricity. And then I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's what really got me. Like from the beginning, like, oh, this is dumb. Like electricity seems to be like almost like the highest form of firebending, where you can only achieve it by being either really disciplined or just a sociopath, and then just like a factory worker shooting lightning.
Yeah.
Like, oh, come on, man, that's dumb.
I get what they were trying to do. It was like institutional knowledge, but they never really justified the idea of what institutional knowledge affected your bending, because it seemed like bending was just something that happened to some people and didn't to others. So I don't know
with lightning about. Specifically, it's like making that institution like everyone knows. It's kind of like everyone knows how to chi block, or no, everyone knows how, like in real life, people are like, oh yeah, everyone just knows how to like power lift or something like that. This insane amounts of weight. I guess it's not something anyone could do. It's something you have to work for. But now just anyone could do it now, I guess. It's a Wolfsbane 10 cheers is the Prisoner of Azkaban is probably the closest to a non-Voldemort book as a focus on Peter and Sirius. Yeah, more or less. It did start off, the book, I think, starts off with like the murder of the Riddle family, and that's about it. It's mostly about these guys.
I thought he was going to go off with Sirius and do stuff, because it was like, I always thought that Sirius was an underused figure. Like he's somebody that can.
He's Harry's godfather and his dad's best friend.
Like there should be more of that. Like he should be spending time with him, and But then it's like, I get it. They're like watching him, so he can't really do that. But I just thought it would be much more interesting if there was some sort of interim period where he's on spring break or summer break. And he's hanging out with Sirius, and they're having adventures somewhere in the wilderness. I thought that would be interesting. And then he goes back, and he has a different attitude.
Yes, but unfortunately, he has to go back to his aunt and uncles every year for that blood spell to work. Voldemort's only mentioned at the end, and it's not even a focal point. Yeah, he's in the book, but he's not the main focus of the book. The main focus of the book of Prisoner of Azkaban is Sirius Black and like all that crazy nonsense. And see, Alexander Tincheers' waiver has 3 artifacts: a piece of Alexander the Great's cape, saber spear, which can only be used by his apprentice, King Arthur's descendant, and Jack the Ripper's knife. He thought it was fake at first, but turned out to be real. Turns out. And see, where are we now? Thanks for good, everyone here. Fantastic. We're all caught up. See, Alexander Tincheers, I mean, the weapons no longer exist. I'll tell you that fast. Would you like to say hello? Thank you very much. And see, and Amon Kira says the other world's magic is far behind, sort of has science-based magic, but it's also subverts it hard, since science-based magic can be inferred with very easily if you can know the underlying science. So you need to know first know science, then add ritual on top of it, so it's harder to interfere with. For example, normal fireball gets easily blocked if you dispel the oxygen or summon. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yep.
So modern wizard goes for hellfire or something similarly cursed to bypass scientific weakness. Yeah, because like if it's magical fire, like I just think about an interesting thing. Like if you like maybe level 1 wizardry is like I can summon regular fire, but then if I get more advanced, I can get like magic fire, which is
Yeah, I like that, and I also like there's Arcanum, the video game, which is like an isometric game. I think it has a system where magic works well in the wilderness, like when nobody's watching, you can do magic and that kind of thing in nature. But then as soon as you get close to a city with technology, the magic stops working. So there's like there's a difference between the magic world and the mechanical world, and I think that it's a great conceit because it means that there's still that thing where people think that magic doesn't work, so they're obsessed with science, and then there's people that are like, no, it does work, and they're more obsessed with, and that is like a personality difference in reality. Like there are people that are very mystical and they have a view of the world. You know, they have astrology and they have tarot cards and they have all this, you know, belief systems and that kind of thing. And then you have people that are all mechanistic and only believe in objectivity and science. And if you and so you have that in a game. And I just always thought that was a cool concept.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like
it's a good game too.
It's always interesting to see how the authors tackle a world that has both science and magic in it.
It's hard.
Pretty interesting stuff.
It's
tough.
Easy.
You have to juggle around.
Because you have to think about stuff that you're not even going to think about, and that's the reason why I gave J.K. Rowling so much like leeway. Because I'm like, how could you figure out how all this stuff works put together? It'd be really hard.
And she doesn't want to be bogged down in all that. She just wants to make a cool wizarding world. So
exactly.
It ended up working pretty well, I think. You know, she's a billionaire.
Yeah, good for her.
Your dark soul.
She's pretty good.
I'm jealous.
Totally not jealous at all.
I'm totally jealous.
I remember this part. This part, okay, I played this one. It happens at the end, and you know it's not the best, but you know it's kind of hard to scream cool.
This is after Sephiroth stabs her, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's not Virgil. But she does die. I forgot how she dies. But yeah, I was like, did Virgil stab her? I don't remember. I don't think so though.
Sephiroth came down from the ceiling.
Yeah, because Virgil also has a katana that he uses. So.
Yeah. Well, it's Japanese.
Your dark soul with light.
It is the stuff of legends, but you manage to get yourself a real hit, and the
there we go. Get him.
higher ups at Capcom think that's a great idea to greenlight a sequel. Hooray! Only they decide not to get Kamiya or the entire team who made the first game involved at all. Wait,
based. We love Kamiya so much. He's the best.
What do you do?
He doesn't give a shit what anybody else thinks, and it works for him. Like he'll just block people on X or Twitter or whatever. He just does whatever he wants.
I don't care. I'm gonna put the woman with big boobs in there. Fuck you.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, fuck you.
Let's see. That is pretty big.
He's got the soul of a samurai.
Saying no to the Wokie is pretty based. Yeah.
But now we can talk about all the issues that are with the game because of the decision, like the infamous infested chopper. Someone killed me. But I've already made a video on that, which you guys should totally check out. And for the purpose of this video, let's talk about the characterization of Dante in this game. And frankly,
That's just a piece of crap.
according to some articles, there was an unknown producer who effectively hated Dante's wisecracking nature in the first game and wanted a more mature and...
Glib, are you excited for Okami too?
Yes, totally. Yeah, I know what that is. No, I'm just kidding. Is that the wolf
It's
game?
one with the wolf. Or I think the wolf or the fox, or where you draw stuff.
Everybody loves that game. That's played.
It's pretty good. It's pretty cool. It's been a while since I've been interacting with that one too, because that's an old game. It's a really old game.
I'm old because I remember when it was being pushed, and everyone was excited for it.
It's pretty good.
Serious version of the character. Out of curiosity, what did critics think of DMC2 at the time?
Extended Plague is Devil May Cry, a stylistic 4 out of 5.
Oh, Adam Sessler next play. I will never like you. Now, I'm not opposed to having more mature and...
I miss that era before he went crazy.
Do the Adam Sessler thing. He's just a regular dude back then. Now he's insane.
Back in the good old days.
Yeah, before everyone went insane.
Various versions of Dante. Sure, I like it when Dante's a lot more playful and cool.
Just as an aside really quick, how ridiculous is it that the entertainment business, they were like, we're gonna make a tech TV channel, and it was basically like help desk. You call in and hey, my stuff is not working, and then they're doing that live on air. Like that would be interesting, but then they replace it with, we're gonna make a channel that's going to be like X-Play. We're going to make this G4 TV thing, and it's going to be about video games. And they don't make it work in the format that they have. And then a couple years later, there's just thousands of channels of people that are playing video games and reviewing video games and talking about video games and doing video game interviews and advertising video games. It's like the biggest thing that ever happened, and they flopped it. Like, that's the entertainment business in a nutshell for me, is you have this amazing thing that's happened that everybody's excited over, and all we can do is this IGN knockoff kind of thing, right? Like, here's 5 minutes of Adam Sessler saying that that Devil May Cry is good. Why were they so up their own ass? Like, where they couldn't figure out how to make that work? Because now, you know, the biggest channels on Twitch, or there's a whole network that's just dedicated to people playing video games, but they couldn't capitalize on that. I've always found that to be a crazy factor.
And like all the money behind them, you think to be like the supreme version of that, right? The supreme version of that, with all the money, they could get more flair, more graphics, and make it as they probably could have. G4 probably could come back in a big way, but their opening episode was like how woke everyone is.
Isn't that crazy? Like, you could have, and then it's like, well, what is the real version of that? Well, like NoClip doing documentaries. I mean, isn't that your gamer dream? Like, I get to go to Valve and interview all these people for Half-Life's anniversary.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I get to go talk to Ken Levine about BioShock. Like, that would be the coolest shit ever. People would love that. They would love to watch some really well put together documentaries, interviews, all that stuff with their favorite game creators. I mean, why not? How is it that we exist in an entertainment sphere where there's thousands of people who are doing live streams or doing recorded content or reviews or something like that, and there's no industrial enterprise backing these people to go out and like give them a couple more bucks or a team to go create higher quality content? What is going on with that? There's maybe it's just like an age thing. I don't know. Like, the boomers or whatever don't understand video games, so that they're not giving people money.
They hate it.
But how can you do that? I don't understand that. This business is all about packaging things. So how can you not understand that people want this package? They want this, but they don't. It's like the last video that we watched. The guy's audio wasn't very good. That's so easy to fix if you're a tech guy. But you have to pay the tech guy to go and help them. You know what I'm saying? Like, how is it that we can't uplift the people that want to do this stuff organically and pay them and then make money off of it? That's the formula. Why is the formula? How can you complain about the entertainment business's lack of money that's coming in, or the sales are not there, or whatever, when everybody's asking for something but you're not giving it to them? Like, that's your fault.
Yeah.
Your job is to give them what they want, but you don't want to? How have we lived through a decade of that? When has that ever happened?
It's crazy. What's been going on? They know what we want. They even identify what we want, and they kind of purposely not give it to us.
Am I crazy, chat? Like, I'm sure every single person in chat right now has something that they would like to see that's made professionally that I don't even think about. Like some sort of game franchise or maybe an anime franchise, and you would love to know the behind the scenes stuff, right? Chat.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd love to see in chat what, like, if they know what I'm talking about, like a 30-minute or hour-long documentary or something on something that you love. Respond in chat if you want, because I think that collectively you probably have millions of dollars worth of good ideas, but nobody's speaking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you really can't get what we have today without them knowing and then purposely going against it. But what the big conflict is that they think not giving us what we want is some profound artistic move.
Yeah, that's weird, man. I don't know how to do it. That's like the theater kids wanting to be the center of attention, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna do exactly the opposite of what everyone wants and everyone expects, which is fine if it's your own work. Like with when Stan Lee made Iron Man, he's like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a guy that everyone's supposed to hate. I'm going to make you like him. But it's like it was a brand new character. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to take Star Wars and then I'm going to make a movie about Star Wars and I'm going to twist it and then just deconstruct it and everything. Like, no, I ordered Star Wars, ma'am. I want Star Wars. All right. I ordered a burger. You gave me a hot dog. All right. Actually, you ordered a burger. You gave me a slop that no one wants. Right. You gave me this weird sludge, and you said, "Oh, it's my artistic version of a burger. It's my artistic breakdown and deconstruction of a burger." You gave me like a bun, and you gave me some weird patty looking thing. You didn't give me a patty. You gave me a bun and you gave me a lettuce piece of the chicken patty. And you told me that was better.
It's
Deconstruction.
It's the Beyond Meat thing. It's like I want a cheeseburger, but they want to give me the oil-based Beyond Meat or whatever.
This weird sludge vat of chemicals that looks like a patty.
And by the way, I don't mean when I say professional. All that I mean is like, I'm not saying that you put together like a narrative that is G-rated or whatever. What I mean is just like there's a certain level of like get it on a 4K camera, get it, get the right audio, and just do that. Like I don't mean that it has to be like a specific narrative that fits. Because I was thinking about that at the beginning of this. I was thinking like it seems the Resident Evil movie trailer came out, right? And it's like, okay, it's just about some random guy in Raccoon City. And I was thinking about that, and I was going like, why can't you just do what the story is? Why can't you just, and it's like there's some sort of sanitization that has to happen where there's like only certain things are okay. Only certain forms of propaganda are okay. Because when I was passing by these buses on the way to pick up my coffee, I was looking at the thing and it said the miniature wife or whatever. There's a movie coming out about a guy whose like wife is shrunk down or something like that. And I was thinking like, oh, so we're now at the phase in writing where they're so desperate that they're going to people's fetishes.
Yeah,
and I was thinking like they are, and I was like, but I'm like thinking like, there's no way that that's going to be more satisfying than the pornography of the person that is interested in that fetish or whatever. Like, but you can't show that on screen. So there's this weird filtration thing that happens where it's like we have an idea that's really transgressive, but we can't really do it. We can only kind of and then the rest of the people aren't going to want to see it because they already detect that it's fetish stuff. You know what I mean? It's this weird thing where they can't deliver what you want, but they want to try to deliver something degenerate in a way. If that makes, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I just think it's so weird how it's like it has to be clean, but we want to do the same thing, and it doesn't work.
We gotta go down to fetishes.
That's not what I mean by professional. I just mean that they have a nice background when they're interviewing the person, and the audio doesn't sound chopped. That's all.
Is it Japanese Ironheart? Thanks for the idea, appreciate it.
But it's not like you can't have a more
It's like part Ninja Turtle kind of goofballness.
serious Dante take the stage for the property. Hell, while I don't find to be the best representation of DMC, the original 2007 anime did an excellent job showcasing that kind of Dante, for the most part. DMC 2, though, well, a lot of people will tell you this version of Dante is more depressed, and I have to tell you, I don't get how or why. I feel like it's due to the fact that there's a misunderstanding of Dante's character in DMC 1, but there's also the fact that Dante barely speaks in this game. Legitimately, if you look at the cutscenes on YouTube, and I'm just talking about the Dante side, the amount of cutscenes rounds up to about 25 minutes, and that's being very generous since that includes a lot of times where Dante just jumps out of buildings. Dante, for the most part, doesn't speak, but when he does, he doesn't sound depressed. If anything, he sounds bored.
Looks like it's your lucky day. Did you find what
He's got to be the cool guy in 2. Like he's the cool, suave, like never bothered character instead of like the super friend, like the super energetic shonen guy. Like here, he's like the super cool, man of few words. And 3, because he's younger, he's Mr. Shonen protagonist. But let's see here, chat. All right. Let's see. All right, check it out. So I think we're getting to the end of stream here. It's a long video, but I think we cover more.
Yeah, boy.
And then another time. But thank you much, everyone. Appreciate it. We'll be back, of course, for Weeb Day tomorrow. Absolutely. Let's see here.
Tyler Preston is saying, how do you know if miniature wife is a fetish show? And the thing is that I was thinking that like it's messed up that I've seen online that content in modernity as a fetish before I've seen it as a story item. Because everybody's seen Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, right? Like that was just like here's a problem and let's solve it. But I feel like if I see the same setup, but it's specific towards like a romantic thing, then it's like a little different. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's there's like
it's the way it's presented. It's kind of the same thing with wokeness. Like just because it has like there's a gay character involved, there's a black character involved, does not mean it's woke. It's the reasoning why they're there, and then the writing of it. It's kind of a female protagonist does not make her Mary Sue. It's how she's written and why she's there.
Yeah.
Let's see. The guy who made Fancy Pants Adventure has a whole YouTube series where he interviews Flash game devs.
That's
cool.
awesome. Thank you for
Very
making me
nice.
aware of that. That's the kind of stuff that I really enjoy. I really like that because then you get like remember how earlier I was saying how that there's sometimes people get interviewed and the question gets deleted but the answer's there. I feel like it's great when there are people that understand each other and do the same job that are talking about the same thing. There's something really interesting about that. There's something really interesting to me about Peter Bogdanovich, who's a director and also a critic, talking to Orson Welles about stuff. There's something interesting about a literary critic talking to Frank Herbert about his writing for Dune, because then you get they're asking, they know what questions to ask other than like a fan just asking questions. Like, because there's you know that it's like when Literature Devil and I talk. Like if we weren't both writers, I don't think our conversations would be as interesting maybe to either of us. I can only speak for myself and hopefully for you guys. But I think that the audience and the people that are involved having similar interests uplifts everybody at the same time.
Yeah, I think so too. And you know, what's cool about these interviews is that usually, as I said before, no one is really woke when it comes down to something they actually care about. So when it comes down to something they actually care about, it's about that topic. It's about their passion. They're passionate about it. And so they're actually talking about it instead of, having the virtue signal in 5 seconds. So you're going to get like more or less, you're probably going to get a pure conversation about craft and passion and what was going through their minds, what actually happened, things like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mega Thought to choose any homework for Weebly LD? Not at the moment, but I think I can think of something for tomorrow. Like I'll let everyone know. Like maybe it'd be kind of cool if you tried this or tried that. Let's see, chat. Let's see. All right, chat. All right, we're going to go ahead and go to stream memes because you're so generous. We're going to transition over, of course, with Pillarman. So thank you much, everyone. So here we go, chat. Lower your volume, raise your volume, whatever you prefer. And Pillarman and 5. Loud clip coming, by the way. Loud clip coming. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ay, 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 ay.
All right, chat. Is there any version of Pillarman that isn't gay? No, absolutely not. They would lose his power otherwise. Let's see. Here we go, chat. Streaming. Thank you much, everyone. April 30th. Let's see. Haagen-Dazs, spicy mustard ice cream with frozen hot dog chunks. Onion bits and relish ripple. Delicious. Let's see. For men, a single comment about thinning hair may be fiercer than the strike of a sword.
I'm getting old.
Let's see. 9-year-old me after seeing my favorite cop for the 3rd time this month. All right.
This is fucked.
Let's see. Long ago, for the 4 nations lived in harmony. GameCube, Dreamcast, Xbox, and PlayStation 2.
Back when they all had different color schemes.
Let's see. Sorry, where? Let's see. What was a 2 bodies recovered during search for missing swimmers at Murder Kill River. Sorry, where? Why is it called Murder Kill River? It's a common autistic special interests: anime and memes, technology and machines, sci-fi and fantasy. That one I know is true. Sci-fi and fantasy. Military history. I didn't know about that, but apparently it is because that was war whatever keeps dropping sensitive documents in there. Photography. I think like if you have any hobby at all, you're autistic. Is that what it is?
I think that a lot of the autism. I think that there's like some weird I don't know if it's a conspiracy, but there's something about how like there's autistic people who are like, you could see that they're basically retarded and they can't do anything, and then there's just really smart people with specific interests. I don't like that it's the same spectrum, quote unquote. That doesn't sound right. It just sounds like vilifying people that have specific interests.
I mean, it's like there's their interest. Like, oh, I like anime. That means I'm autistic. So therefore, I have oppression points. Maybe sometimes I feel like it's like that a little bit.
That makes sense, but I just think that there's this weird thing. It's like, oh, they're interested and smart and motivated. Medicate them. I'm like, what do you mean? Why? Because they're interested in trains? Like I just think that there's something fucked up about that. I think that that's going to be a great scandal 20 years from now. Where they're,
The trains
they're like,
thing?
they put us on ADHD and meds and then they find out that it doesn't do anything. Just like the trans stuff.
Yeah, it just numbs your emotions, I think. But yeah, all this stuff combined, Gundam. I do like Gundam quite a bit. It's awesome.
I'm autistic because I want to be able to fly around the universe and
have hobbies.
Okay.
Like anything
Okay.
that a man likes makes you autistic. Like all men are autistic, I guess.
Men need to get back into the wage cage mines. They're not allowed to enjoy painting a tiger tank.
Yeah, or machines, or like men. Everything. If a man steps out of his bounds of being a mindless, emotionless husk and automaton, there's something wrong with him apparently.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's really pathologizing male behavior, which is just being interested in something specific, and I find that to be obnoxious as hell. You know what I mean? Because there's so many things that people are interested in, and then when you just let them do that, and there's an opening for them to do that for a living, then that's how you get innovation. You know, if you didn't have these people that they call autistic or whatever, then you wouldn't have anybody good at their job, I feel like.
Yeah. See, a gamer with a book is more dangerous than a gamer with a gun. How I be standing at parties knowing I got Dr. Seuss on me? It's like all confident. It's what do you mean? How's a flying little boy who never grew up going to help you cook the flat unleavened bread? Peter Pan. I need a Peter Pan. Not Peter Pan, a Peter Pan.
I love how pita just means bread, but people say pita bread, so it's bread.
Bread. Let's see. You fools, you messed with the natural order. And everything blows up. I remember that episode. No one can be braver than this, KFC, just sitting outside of it.
There's a fine line between brave and stupid.
There is. Very fine line. See, this the Mii's Nintendo. Things will use the new Tomodachi Life. The Mii's will you actually use.
See, you can be a good person your entire life and nobody will like LARP as you, but if you're a terrible dictator or a rapist, then they'll immortalize you.
Then you're in a game. Especially if you're evil. Let's see.
Yeah.
The 42-year-old multi-million-dollar international movie franchise, which has made several movies and TV series, somehow Palpatine returned. Yeah, I was killed by that one arrow.
Yep. Well, killing Luke Skywalker and Leia and Han Solo was what really killed it. Like, you could survive after that if those characters still existed, because then you could bring them back. But now that they're dead, you can't bring. How do you bring back Star Wars? What do you base it on? You can't fix the damage because they've already destroyed everything.
Yeah,
you can do something else.
You can help make it better, but you can't go back and fix what was broken. Not anymore. Yeah. Even they said it was all non-canon. It's still there. It'll never go away.
It's there forever.
Oh, my son hung himself in a bathroom with a Taco Bell. The Star Wars sequels will never go away.
Somehow Plinkett returned.
Somehow Plinkett returned.
He's some kind of demon from hell.
Is that supposed to stop me from killing myself?
Because I already did, and it didn't work.
Now I'm stuck in my creepy basement as a ghost. Cora tries to hide her boobs. I think this is this artistic meme going around. Like everyone's doing different characters doing this motion. And see, Freeman's I think already won. I think Freeman won this already because she has Exodia. I think that's how it would go. I think like little kid Goku is stronger than the Viltrumite. You can't break this flag.
I thought that Invincible based its stuff off of the
Saiyans.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
so.
sure.
I think the Saiyans are just more powerful than they are. That's my headcanon. This is pretty funny. We got him. Hey, Meowth is crying. Let's see. Sorry, where? What's this? What are you doing, space fascists, doing on Earth? Same thing as any fascist. Race mixing, as they do. Meteor throws out the dinosaur, haha, and the chickens return. Somehow the dinosaurs return. Let's see. I like you. This is what happens, yeah.
I like you, and I want you.
Now we can do this the easy way or the hard way. The choice is yours. Somehow Palpatine returned. Somehow Palpatine returned. I think the face. The face is perfect. Like, dude, fix your mic. We did. I think we did. So here's Frankie. See, they always introduce him as Frankie. He's like a chicken here though. Let's see. Author E.A. Presley reading his You see, in 87, and American Psycho with Elvis Presley. I walked into his apartment, and it was immediately and was hit with a big wave of relief, and I thought it was like a less expensive or something like that.
He goes to Dorsia and he's asking for like banana, bacon, peanut butter sandwiches.
Buddy Holly can go to Dorsia, but I can't. I got this one. I couldn't really get far enough to like it because it was so glitchy. I got killed because there was a glitch, I think, where all my characters are just poisoned forever, and nothing like curing my poison does nothing. Using the item to cure poison does nothing. Saving does nothing, and they're just dying. So I just quit. Let's see. Well, through God, all things are possible. So it's a Mac quote from always. But first of all, through God, all things are possible. So jot that down. Are you talking about how he like went to like 300 pounds to like a svelte 200 like 150 pounds in like 6 months? And she's like, that doesn't seem possible. Well, first of all, all things through God, all things are possible. So jot that down. Ha 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 ha. Hey Peter, I turned myself into Sans from Montell. I'm Sans Lois. Let's see. I'm Sans Lois. There it is. What is this? Dante? Whoa, it's the first time they see a lady look so feminine and elegant. Yeah, because she had a really rough childhood, I'm pretty sure. I think she was going to be sacrificed and just wasn't sacrificed. You're late. One more damn minute and I would have gone home. And then they got married, I think. And there's Inuyasha. No demon guy. I'm your king. I didn't vote for you. You didn't vote for kings. Jumpy, filthy mudblood. Is Jordan Peterson still alive, or did he die?
I think his daughter is torturing him every day.
And so there isn't anything more unfair than that. Let's see. For the little mudblood, you're going to pay for that. Let me tweet this video. Draco Malfoy said the Imsler cancel Malfoy. Malfoy is over party. Harry does not have friends. He has followers. What's this? That's Jack the Ripper. It's not Jack the Ripper. Let's see. Who's this? This looks pretty cool. And then that's a pony girl, I think. All right, chat. We're going to close the stream for today. Thank you much for everyone for joining me today. Thank you much Glib for joining me today. Thank you much Best Chat for always being the best chat. We have unlocked the Smiling Friends stream and the anime stream for this week.
Let's go.
Yeah, we're going to check it out. We're going to choose an anime. We're going to cover it tomorrow and Sunday. And then the Smiling Friends one will be on Saturday. There we go. All right, Alex, I think this introduces them. There is more than one Jack the Ripper in Fate. It's been a cheat to me. Anyway, chat. Let's see. All right, see y'all again, of course, next time.
On a cold winter morning in the time before the light, in flames of death's eternal rain, we ride towards the fight. When the dark